Zach Mayer is this man is focused. He is locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing is back. A lot of communication going on with that next and short team, but again, this is the man on the front. So Brian Duffy Jr. driving this group. Wisconsin's Hayden Pucker restart. Nathan is really standing up to that next team here.
Well, hello and welcome everyone to the 2000 Esports National Championship for the USA cycling title across Masters, Elite, and Elite men and women. I'm Nathan Guerra. Dave Toll sat next to me. We are your hosts today, and we are extremely excited to bring you some of the best racing to kick off 2024. Dave, but it's not just today. Yesterday, we crowned some champions already.
Yeah, some really familiar names doing battle out there, Nathan. It was fantastic. The energy around this national championships has been unlike anything that we've ever seen on Zwift before. Really, really excited. So we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to have a chance to review some of the racing from yesterday where they were out racing on Park Perimeter Loop in New York, a really challenging course. And they did 3 laps out there, Nathan.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a quick look at that. Then we'll update you on all of the titles that were won yesterday across the men's Masters age groups as well as the women's Masters age group. We got some highlights for you. It was pretty amazing out on the Park Perimeter. Now, that is a different race than what we're having today as far as what was competed on. Today, we're going to be having an Omnium, which is going to collect points across 3 courses. We'll get into that in just a minute. Let's take a look at what happened yesterday, though. Yesterday, it was in the men's 35-39 from the get-go. Scott Catanzaro, last year's Elite National Champion, was on the attack with 20K in. He made an absolute bomb of attack, 11 watts per kilogram in a reduced pack. His teammate, Chris Uberti, looked to try and come up over the top to him on Cat's Hill, actually, on the back end of Park Perimeter. He was able to make contact, actually, on this Park Perimeter loop, but Catanzaro was on a mission, wasn't he, Dave?
He really was. When Uberti joined, I thought this would be lights out for the rest of the field. But what was really impressive was the ride, Nathan, that we saw from Rob Devlin today. Is at this point now, Uberti's going to soldier on alone. Catanzaro soldiering on alone as Uberti had to pull a pin, and a real charge coming from behind as we look at our finish.
Yeah, Catanzaro taking it down for the win. It was Devlin, actually surprisingly a little bit, that was able to get away from the other two. Uberti having to settle for third, with Corrigan coming across there in 4th place. These are your results. Your national champion, Scott Catanzaro, Dave.
Yeah, Scott taking a big win, and it's not his first national championship either, so Stars and Stripes dreams coming true there already for the next presented by Insured team. It was dirt rider Rob Devlin getting up there for silver. That's a huge result for Rob, with Chris Uberti holding on for the bronze medal. Next, putting 2 riders on the podium here. Tom Corrigan for dirt makes it 2 dirt riders in the top 4 as well. They had an outstanding day yesterday, so Tom Corrigan in for 4th. It's relentless rider Nick Glavick for 5th. Tony Gumbel ending up in 6th for next, presented by Insured. Our man, the mastermind, Eric Hill, ends up in 7th today, riding for Project Echelon Racing. Paul Napier of Ice Cream Endurance. How can you not support that team, Paul? Good job in 8th there. Ian McCarroll in 9th, and Dan Lucas of the AFC team rounding out our top 10 in this standalone event for our Master Men 35-39.
Well, let's take a look at what happened also for the Masters men's 40-44. It took about a lap before Ben Meir from the WLC team went ballistic over the top of this little bit of a false flat and then along the boardwalk here. And then as it calmed down, there were about 10 riders there. Adam Zimmer, former national champion, actually in and amongst the group here. Meir continued to just set a relentless pace, kind of overworking himself, in my my opinion. Zimmerman then made a little bit of a move at 13.5K, the second time over the top of the Cat's Hill there, 6.4 watts per kilogram. But really, it was a waiting game, I think, for this man. In just a moment, you're going to see none other than Jaden Yager start to make his moves. He waited until this moment, and he also brought the Scotty the Squirrel hat for it.
Yeah, Jaden, a multi-time, multi-discipline U.S. national champion looking to add an esports. And Jaden Yeager here is really going to put them under pressure. This is the second lap that they're out on now. Again, a very challenging course here in New York. Nobody wants to sprint with Greg Abbott there, the next insured rider, and they were going to turn the screws at this point. We're deep into the final lap here now, Nathan.
Yeah, Yager, Mir, and then it was, I believe, Greenberg able to get across actually in a reduced three-man group in just a moment here. Greenberg does jump across, and then as they get into the final couple of K, actually, three riders left start looking at each other, and the games begin. Mir continues, though, to kind of just play the workhorse to try and maybe beat them down. He does not want to come into a sprint situation with Greenberg, but neither does Yager. Both of them know it has to be a breakaway. There's the counter there with just a little over K to go. Jaden Yager countering Mir, gets the gap and onto the downhill, his favorite place for big watts, the ruler type, makes it happen. He is the breakaway king, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's a multi-time national time trial champion on the road in real life. Last guy you want to let go. It was a strong ride from Ben Mir. Brad Greenberg also very, very impressive. But let's take a look at our top 10 from our men 40-44. That was an epic throwdown out there. That rolling podium coming into 1K to go. And there we have it. That's going to be Jaden Yeager there, the restart presented by Alex Co-Rider on top of the table, taking the gold medal and the national championship jersey to go with it. Ben Mir, strong ride from the Wahoo Coleman to take silver today, with next presented by Insured, getting on the podium again with Brad Greenberg. Good job today, Brad. Adam Zimmerman, the OG national champion for Turbo, ending up in fourth with Greg Abbott in fifth for next. It's Penn Velo's Eugene Chan in sixth. Sean Perry for next presented by Insured in seventh. Carlo Augustinetto in eighth, Michael Mihalik in ninth, and then Kevin Hodges. Another next rider. Nathan, look at this. They really have been dominant across the spectrum of racing. But in this category, it looks like they're putting four riders up in the top 10, including Kevin Hodges there. That's our Master Men 40-44 top 10 after racing yesterday in New York.
And now back in with our 45-49 men. Our previous national champion, Brian Kellison, was putting in a lot of work, but it wasn't until actually a lap and a half that Mason Roca just went all in on the backside of the course. Ned Bowen looking to respond. Mason just put this dig in, got a gap, and continued and soldiered on. Now, it kind of got close at a lot of different sections, though. It was interesting the way that the riders continued to try and eke away at that only 11-second gap. This final time over the top of Cat's Hill, Kevin Mullins tries to make a move to get across. We saw over and over again moves to get across. In the end, it was Breach and Kellison that almost were able to make contact, but nope. Mason Roca able to hold on to just under 10 seconds by the finish here in order to get a national championship.
That's what it took. You can see the piping on his sleeves. They're a former national champion, a former professional basketball player. Mason Roca brings the champion standard to every race that he starts. So congratulations, Mason. Another national championship for the restart presented by Alex Co. They're on a roll. Talking about restart here. Brian Breach ending up in second for Stages Cycling with the mighty Brian Kellison of Penn Velo taking the bronze medal in third. Virtual VR rider Kevin Mullins getting up there for fourth today, with fifth place going to Mike Gortmoller. He's a dirt rider. His teammate Christoph Fitzia in sixth place. Ned Bowen for the draft team holds on for seventh today. There's a familiar name, WLC, Wahoo Lacole's Brian Hodges up there in eighth. Jeremy Ziegler for AAVC in ninth end. Rounding out our top 10, James Rainbow with an outstanding performance here. So that's our Master Men 45-49, a battle royale, no doubt about it. Congratulations to Mason Roca. Up next, I got to think it's our men 50-54, Nathan.
Yeah, 50-54. It was a pretty straightforward battle, actually. About a lap and a half in. That, again, that Cat's Hill a lot of times is the one. And it was Cunningham that was able to make the move and get away over the top there. And from there forward, it was kind of just a race for second. Cunningham completely annihilating this attack and ends up with a pretty... They kind of all just looked at him, and you could tell the looks on some of the faces when I was watching the Zoom calls, Dave. Honestly, it was like, yeah, I think we're going to leave that alone, as Cunningham just went away, and it was a race from second from here on out.
The I'm good look, right? Cunningham, the gold standard, no doubt about it, in this 50-54 group. Yeah, Nathan, we saw some really big efforts out there, and Scott Cunningham put together one of the strongest rides. You can see the dominant 4.2 watts per kilogram that he put together. No one else even in that neighborhood. So congratulations to Scott Cunningham, your freshly minted National Esports champion. Rob King for Team CLS is going to take second with Bryant Kelly of Team BMTR. In third, a bronze medal goes with that third place. Congratulations, Bryant. Rob Britt in fourth for the KISS RT team. It's Kenny Wonderbach of Team Cryogen in fifth. Chris Olson of Stages Cycling in sixth. Chris Thompson of Wholesome in seventh. It's Antonio Abadia of the ABRT team in eighth. Anthony Tataciore in ninth. And then Francisco Aponte. They're both riding for the Project Echelon Racing team, which is our home squad. And congratulations to them finding the top 10 here in our men 50-54. All right, the beats don't quit, though. Men 50-59 coming up next here.
Yeah, and no images for the 50-59, everybody, but we do have David Henderson that was able to take down the national championship. Congratulations to him. Dave, take us away for the rest of the top 10 in that 55-59.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. Joe Meyer-Fuchs in second place. Again, you can see that this was close. It was a 4-second advantage for David, the World Elite Swifter, at the finish line. Milt Sharp ends up in third and taking the bronze medal. Larry Smith of the BCO team in fourth. We've got Douglas Lee of EFT, presented by LEL Cycling, in fifth. John Burton found sixth place today for Team ODZ. Team OTR Racing, that's seventh place, and Greg Tafoya. Jonathan Staley for Coalition in eighth. Colm Flannery, Wholesome Rider, there in ninth. And Mar Dennis Parunga, in one of the Project Echelon riders, in 10th. You might wonder, how could that Irish flag be there? Colm is A-OK. If you wanted to go online, you could find all of the details. But basically, a naturalized citizen is going to be able to compete here, and that would explain Mr. Flannery finding our top 10. This is going to be our Mastermen 60+ that we're looking at, and this is a very familiar name if you've been following American racing over the last few decades. He's a world hour record holder, a multi-time world and national champion, and he can now add esports national champion to his palmarès. Congratulations to one of the greatest American racers of all time, Kevin Metcalf, taking the win for the Coalition team in our 60+ category. Out of Boulder, Colorado, Joseph Paulson's going to end up in second today, and Pete Butler ending up in third. That's an all-star podium that we've got in our 60+ category. Greg Colley of Team BMTR ending up in fourth, with Rick Spear of the Dirt team in fifth. Jeff Morton of
Real
OTR.
quick, I got to interrupt. Apologies interrupting you here real quick, Dave, but we just want to make sure that we... in these results, just as a heads up, everybody, these were mixed together for the race. So we will be able to call out the national champions in these results as well as we go through them.
Great, because, yeah, you know, Nathan, it's really noteworthy. We had an 80-year-old racer with us, Dominic Rosetto of the Project Echelon Racing team. So I appreciate what you're saying there. We'll make sure that we highlight all of our national champions, as it is a little mixed together. Let me just keep running through this now, though, as I believe I was up to Jeff Morton there of the OTR Racing
that will
team.
Be our 65-69 national champion. Will be Jeff Morton. Our next one up, Nathan, would be the 70. You can keep on moving until we get to Michael Kurtz.
Okay. Perfect. So Cleve Law. So this is on the aggregate, all of our riders put together. Cleve Law ending up in 7th for Lightning Velo, with Greg Page's teammate in 8th, Brian Collins of TTE in 9th, and then Jeff Cooper for the Wholesome team in 10th. That's a team out of the Rocky Mountain region. It's Robert Yerricks there of ST.com in 11th. John Slaughter, legend there, John Slaughter, finishing in 12th, racing out of California. Michael Kurtz there in 13th. Mark Sacco.
Michael will actually be our 70 plus national champion. Congratulations to Michael Kurtz on grabbing that win for a national championship.
That's awesome. Let's see here now, Nathan. So highlighting then Michael Kurtz as national champion. It was Mark Sacco who finished 14th in that combined group. Scott Bullfinch of the Chaos team in 15th. Calvin Ridgway in 16th. Another Wholesome rider. That team really showing up. Good to see Mike McQueenie out here in 17th. There's Dominic Rosetto, the 80-year-old rider that we had with us for Project Echelon Racing, finishing in 18th. Stephen Strader in 19th, and then Michael Critton in 20th. And I believe that rounds out all of our Masters racers in that combined category.
Let's jump right down in with our highlights from the women. 35 to 49, all raced together. They are separated out by 5 years for the age group. So it will be 35 to 39, 40 to 44, and 45 to 49. And this is the first time up and over the top of the Cat's Hill there was a separation. Sarah Roach, Jen Reel, M. Nyquist, Stephanie Sidlick, Boaz is there as well. Pitzer trying to get across, former national champion, unable to do so. So it is a 5-up group in this 35 to 49 altogether group. Sarah Roach continued to try and make moves, but it was covered continually by M. Nyquist as they were racing for that 40 to 44 age group. I think Roach really wanted to try and get rid of Nyquist because of exactly this. The last time over the top of Cat's Hill goes absolutely ballistic. Stephanie Sidlick able to cover the moves by Nyquist, but Nyquist able to really split things apart. Reel getting dropped at this point, but she's not too concerned about that. She is racing, I think, specifically for that 45 to 49. So that break then ends up with a small reduced pack of 4 riders on the front for this race.
Yeah, really interesting dynamics going on out here. Stephanie Sidlick, who's represented the United States at the World Championships, considered one of the better climbers in esports. Certainly, Cat's Hill is going to be the feature on this course that she's going to use to her advantage, as we're down to, at this point now, again, 29K of racing, and there goes Sidlick, and she's going to be a big problem for this group, Nathan.
Yeah, and Sidlick, this is the moment she just completely goes nuts after this little bit of a reprieve after the break after Cat's Hill. Nyquist, the only one that's really able to respond. She almost gets back up to Sidlick, but is unable to do so. You see this last-ditch effort in the back end of the course, but she's, I think, satisfied with at least trying to hold off her main concern, Sarah Roach, behind, being in the same age group as her. Sidlick, they're able to break weight and win that 35 to 39 title. Then it is Nyquist coming on through, actually also for a national championship. So she's going to be extremely excited about that as she comes on through and wins that 40 to 44 Masters age group national championship. And then behind her trade team teammate, actually, Jen Reel, comes on through, and she's going to be also celebrating a whole bunch, as Nyquist obviously extremely happy about this. It's actually Roach and Boaz battling it out here for those minor placings in the overall, as you can see. And then you can see behind 23 seconds, Reel going to be celebrating her national championship as well.
Yeah, in this unique format with 3 combined categories racing together, they were actually both sprinting for the silver medal in their group, Boaz and Roach. So there's your national champion out of Texas, Jen Reel. Jen's been the director for the American national team as well. So really a multi-talented human being right there. Let's go ahead and jump right in with our results. Again, we have 3 pages to show you here. We'll start with our women 35. Well, this is going to be our outright. Okay, so this is not broken down. This is based with all 3 categories racing together. So Stephanie Sidlick out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Dr. Sidlick in the top spot, and so she'll be a national champion, as actually will M. Nyquist, as Nathan mentioned during the highlights there, Nyquist winning in her category for the Sarah Snowpins team, second overall in this group. So this is, again, looking at all of the women who raced in the three different categories in the 35 to 49 group, with Sarah Roach ending up in third, Marissa Boaz in fourth, Jen Reel in fifth. Jen, another national champion, however, in her age group. Christy Dallaire in sixth place. Angela Pitzer in seventh, Melinda Barnes in eighth, Maggie Lowe for ninth, and then Jeanette Barber in 10th.
And one last little highlight here from the 50 plus, as you can see all together as well. Smith absolutely on the domination train from the get-go, actually. This was her race yesterday. Non-stop attacks coming from Andrea Smith. She was able to just completely dominate the field. It was going to be, from you can see here, Bratz here trying to hold on actually from those incessant attacks, but not too worried about it in a different age group, I believe here. It was Slaughter able to hang on with Freistad, but again, Smith just does this, set the tempo at the front and breaks it apart every single lap at the same spot, which is that cat. So it seems to be the crucial point. She's going to end up taking down this national championship for herself. Now, one thing I definitely want to highlight here is the amazingness of all of these women racing out here today across all of these age groups. But Slaughter here, not actually losing out her the age group that she was there, but she got caught right at the line. This is one, though, Von Walbrol. I absolutely love this. This woman taking that down, the excitement on the face. You got to love this, Dave, completely.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. No question. So, Nathan, a lot of great racing. This all happened less than 24 hours ago in virtual New York. And there's Andrea Smith for I Race Like a Girl. That's a team that has worked really hard to get a result like this. So congratulations, Andrea, and everybody at I Race Like a Girl. That's a huge one. It's Thea Friestad of the Revo team who's going to end up with the silver medal. This is our women's 50-plus category with Connie Tang of Team Rave in silver. That's nice to see a couple racing as John and Jennifer Slaughter both out there giving their all. And Jennifer's going to end up with a rock-solid fourth place today in a really competitive group. It's Lisa Bratz of Team BMTR in fifth. It's Natalie Barron there for ATP in sixth, with Jennifer Baker of Revo in seventh. Yvonne Walbrol of Penn Velo in eighth. Sherry Birdie Townsend of ATP in ninth. And then Margaret Thompson, also of ATP, rounds out our top 10 for our Master Women 50 plus.
And I'll just shout out quickly, our national championships are going to be Thea Friestad taking that down. Andrea Smith then for the 55 to 59, and the 60 to 64 will be Jennifer Slaughter. It will be Sherry Bird Townsend taking it down for 65 to 69, and our 70 plus Margaret Thompson is what I'm seeing here. So great job to everybody out there. Well, let's jump down to the pens, everybody. And Dave, is it time to remove our hats and helmets?
Time to remove your hats and helmets. If you would, please rise for the national anthem of the United States of America. Doesn't it feel great to be at a USA Cycling National Championship here on Zwift Community Live? A highlight of racing here on Zwift. Nathan, I can't wait for this one. You can see the clock counting down. Wishing all of our racers good luck. It's a huge, huge day. Only one man and women will be standing on top of the podium when this one is done and dusted. As we get ready to enter the launch code, it's been approved. We're going to be heading out for the first of three. This is Richmond, Virginia, the site of the 2015 World Road Championships, and we are officially underway. Nathan, thank you so much for all the hard work to have us ready to enjoy what's going to be three great races for the men and the women. Very quickly, we'll race in Richmond. We'll head to Bologna for the second event in today's Omnium. And after we are done and dusted in Neocchio, we will know who your national champion is. This will be a hard-fought battle, no question. So we can talk about the details of the Omnium point scoring, but what's really important right now is they're out on lap number 1 here in Richmond. This will be of the 47.6 kilometers that will make up the entirety of this national championship, divided over 3 events. This is Richmond, 16.2K. Great rider, Nathan, to pick up with. This is out of Wisconsin, Hayden Pucker. They call him Farm Watch for a good reason. This would be an outsider's pick, Nathan, but you got to dream big at national championships.
Yeah, Hayden Pucker, be on the watch out for him. He's definitely one that has showed up on the radar throughout the Echelon Racing League, which was the qualifiers for this, giving a little bit of a wrench to that which is next, presented by Insured. A lot of times, I think he has been a danger man. We saw him in race number, was it number 3, actually, Dave, where he was able to actually be in contention early on and actually come right to the line with some of the best when it comes to Esports. But the man here that was with him, that is going to be Jay Bruin, that was able to contend right alongside of Hayden Pucker. Be on the watch out for him, as well as Brian Duffy Jr. today.
You just hit on a really big name there, Nathan. Well, actually a few, to tell you the truth. Jay Bruin, certainly, I wouldn't put him as an outsider. Actually, I want to touch on all 3 names because Brian Duffy Jr. comes into me as one of the big favorites. Hayden Pucker Jr., look at this action going on here on lap number 1. Hayden Pucker Jr. might be the best odds that you can get as an outsider who's got a legitimate chance racing for that restart presented by Alex Cote. But Nathan, look how this is hotting up here. This is going to be huge. You cannot win this Omnium in the first event, but you can put yourself behind the 8 ball for sure. You've got to find the top 10 if you want to be national champion, in my mind, Nathan. Look at this now. Some really big efforts being made here in the opening 2 kilometers.
Yeah, this is going to be Alan Lowe actually trying to make some moves here. It looks like very early on for that Team Turbo. A little bit surprising to me actually to see Turbo so early on. I thought he was going to, I thought as far as Lowe goes, I had a feeling that perhaps he play his cards a little bit cooler, but maybe this is going to be some team tactics perhaps here because, Dave, we said this on the wrap actually a few weeks ago that competitions like this might end up turning a little bit into these teams just looking to stack it as much as they possibly can because they know the fields are so deep. Do you have a feeling perhaps Lowe out here thinking about his teammates and trying to make some moves for them here in the early goings?
Yes. Absolutely, Nathan. I think one of the things that we've really been impressed by with the esports racing is how it very rapidly you realize that the tactics that apply in real life racing and especially how teams work really applies here as well. And this is a good example of that.
Ooh.
When you talk about restart and next, here we go. They're both going to be a part of this conversation. That in the pink and white is going to be the Saris No Pins team and David Talbot, another rider you got to keep your mind on. But this is a very, very active moment here. Nathan, we're only 2.4K into this national championship. It's already turned into an absolute Donnybrook, and there's Neil Freyette moving up. There's already got one national championship as a master rider, Scott Catanzaro here, but I like that you're bringing up David Talbot. That's another rider we should really be keeping our eye on here today, Nathan.
Yeah, and when we talk about Talbot here, I really think that this rider, he's going to be a danger man for the entirety of the Omnium. And also on a course like this, he's a rider who can really climb. We saw it out on the after party, actually, in Innsbruck. He almost was able to take down Neil Freyette. He got caught right at the line by Freyette, but he is one of those that can just take you to the attrition. And he's also got a monster team with Saris Snowpins able to back him up here. And you can see already they are countering the moves here with Levinson now making a move, his teammate off the front. It's left, right, and center, Dave. Non-stop attacks from every single team.
Well, this is just such a great indicator of the incredible racing that we're going to have here today on Zwift. And Nathan, I want to go back to a rider as you're in with Levinson now. Zach Neer is going to be a big part of the conversation. He is back now racing with the next team. He's been jumping back and forth between squads, but Zach Neer is absolutely a rider that you're going to need to keep an eye on here. Boy, I mean, you can just keep working down this list. This is Eric Levinson that we're in with now. So I really think that this is exactly what we were talking about a couple of minutes ago. The teams now are so sophisticated. Saris no pins. This might not necessarily be for Levinson himself. I think he's just trying to stretch this group out a little bit. Definitely his teammate David Talbot back in the sweet spot right now. As we see some new names out here as well. I was talking about Cade Bickmore before the broadcast, Nathan. Cade Bickmore comes in very light on Zwift experience, but very heavy on in real life results. So it's going to be fun to see what he can do on a day like today. But this peloton now, Nathan, it looks like it might be settling down, if you can even say settle. Not really. Actually, look at this. As soon as you start to think you might catch an opportunity to grab a breath, well, they're back at it now as Restart is all in on a very, very active opener here.
Yeah, and it looks like now to make another move, it is going to be F. Meredith. This is a rider I'm not extremely familiar with, actually. This is kind of a wild card jumping in at the front end of this race. This is, who
Welsh
is?
flag.
Yeah, what is going on here? We're going to have to get some information, that's for sure, as this is a whole new world to me as far as Fred Meredith goes. What is going, and Dave, are you familiar with this rider?
I'll be honest, Nathan, I am not. So this is going to be, again, at national championships in real life as well. There's always the outliers that show up, the riders that come out of the woodwork, and that might be exactly who we're talking about there. You can see the only flag that's not the stars and stripes there. That is the Welsh flag. We'll find out more about Meredith, but certainly that's an interesting rider. I mean, not often that you pop your head up at this level being unheard of, and he's more than holding his own here at the front of the group. So we've talked about this in previous broadcasts. You have to be aware that the Next Insured jersey and the Restart jersey are relatively similar at first glance here. So want to be really aware. Brian Duffy Jr., one of the really strong riders on that Next team. But Nathan, they might have the deepest team in this field here, talking about Next Insured.
Yeah, 100%. And, Greenberg showing up here today for Next, trying to close things down, it looks like, to another attack going off the front, and that's going to be Mackie Rowe. Dave, Mackie Rowe now making a move with Next, and this might be a situation where they get, now Dave, let's talk about this. Look at these jerseys. 1, 2, 3, the favorites for sure. I would say the other ones that you maybe be wanting to watch out for is going to be Project Echelon. But if you get a Saris Restart Next situation off the front, there's not a lot of motivation from the top teams then in the main pack to make any kind of a moves. That's danger to anybody else not on those teams. And I think that's exactly why you saw that kind of response just a moment ago.
Boy, isn't that a fascinating scenario, right? When you get the three biggest teams representing the breakaway, then you start looking at, well, what are your chances of winning out of that group? Because some of the bigger teams might want to reset things and just use that as a placeholder for that moment in the race. Let those three go clear, knowing that we're represented, and that's really the name of the game. You don't want to end up in a situation where you've got a breakaway up the road where you don't at least have representation in that group. Matt Kerbo is another, don't sleep on Sarah's no pins, Nathan. This is a really interesting opportunity to bring all of the top American riders together. And when you take a look at this group, there's 5 really strong riders from that team up in this front group, but we're back in with Jaden Yeager, the Restart rider. That's going to be Michael Painter covering now. Nathan, you really start to feel, and there you go, Sarah's no pins with Matt Kerbo want some representation. As a matter of fact, they're going to start a new chapter of this race here. We're down to less than 10K to go here, but the big features on this course, almost anybody who's been racing on Zwift or is a fan of cycling realizes that it's the Libby 23rd and Governors. It's the triple Lindy that hits you at the end of this race. They're all 3 really hard moments, and they're going to make this race incredibly hard before we even get there, Nathan.
Yeah, you can see here, Matt giving us a thumbs up. He's not a little bit of okay. We're good to go. Does he look
Bill's
like he's
Mafia.
working at home? I mean, come on. I absolutely love it. Well, okay. He's letting us know it's been a little hard from the get-go.
So it's interesting, Nathan. almost always when we're on Swift, and even now, you have to remember that this is a worldwide audience that we have. But he must be in Western New York. Bills Mafia, they have a big game coming up later today against Miami, so I'm sure he wants to get his race in and then go watch his team get a W. But here we go. That's Matt Kerbo that we were just in with there. Speaking of the devil, this is the Sarah Snowpins team. Nathan, it wouldn't do anybody's heart poorly to see this team get a win. They come in, I would say, as underdogs, not massive underdogs, but we talk about Next. We talk about Project Echelon. This is a team that's ready to make their mark today. Talking about the men in pink and white. They have a women's team as well. You saw Jen Reel winning yesterday, but now a chase of a solo leader here as Eric Sorensen off the front.
Yeah, Eric Levinson. Yeah, that's pretty amazing actually to see. Great. Matt's talking to us. Actually, he's letting us know. Gives us a little what's up. And Matt, actually, let's see if Matt, I'm going to see if he can actually chat with us a little bit. Actually, Matt, can you hear us?
All right, teammate up the road. He's slinging it.
Yeah, that maybe getting a little bit of a DS. That might be what's happening there too. As I love to hear, the fact he sounds like he's hardly breathing. Honestly,
yeah, he seems incredibly comfortable. He's talking about the fact that he's got a teammate up the road right now, so he can comfortably sit back in this group as the advantage goes out to really more than a couple seconds, Nathan. Let's talk about this moment right now. How dangerous is this? Eric Levinson is absolutely willing to scrape the bottom of the wattage barrel. I mean, this guy is a watt wagon on the front. I wouldn't play around with it too much as we're down inside of 7K to go here. Remembering that the sting is definitely in the tail with this one. This is a real scorpion of a course.
Yeah, and Dave, it's really smart of him too to get up to 60 kilometers per hour and continue on. Now Jager knows exactly what he's up to here, and that's why he jumps on the front here at 70 kilometers per hour to drag this back in. He's already got a national championship underneath his belt. It's not that he wouldn't want the elite, but I have a feeling he's working for the team at this point, because if that rider up front does get up and over 57 kilometers per hour, he's going to be going faster than the pack if they do not super tuck like this. So Jager doing the work actually for restart to bring this all back together. Half a lap down, Dave, and now we've got the sting in the tail, as you would say, coming up real quickly here with Libby Hill, just a couple of K out.
It's going to be an absolute explosion on Libby Hill, no doubt about it. A sonic boom will go through this group, and this group will split as well. Not everybody's going to survive. So, if you're next insured, Nathan, that last couple of minutes actually kind of going your way, I'd say, is they didn't have
I haven't seen them on the front much at all, honestly.
No,
Dave. It's been pretty quiet from them since the beginning.
Which is ominous, isn't it, Nathan? That just means there's going to be an absolute explosion here in the back half of this race. Is Next, generally, I would say over the last couple of years, they haven't been the world's most patient team. They get out there, they race aggressively. I feel like they've got a little bit of a different tactic coming into this first race of 3. We'll be heading to Bologna. Actually, we've got the women to race next, but we'll be heading to Bologna and Neocchio. But you have to get off on the right foot out here. Nathan, getting up, if you want to be national champion, you're going to need to find a top 10 at the worst here in Richmond. As we're back in now with Matt Kerbo, we were in cam with Matt a little bit earlier, but Matt now taking his turn. I mean, at this point now, the Sarah Snowpins in pink and white, they've been the most aggressive team so far today.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say there's just non-stop attacks from them. Just now it might be working out for them actually a little bit, as we do see Zalvesen here, Duffy Jr. able to come across, it looks like. We saw this actually in the Zwift Grand Prix earlier this year with attacks through this exact section that were able to stay way over the top of Libby Hill. Now, of course, that was a points race, a little bit different situation, but Duffy Jr. sat on Lionel Viasen's wheel, and then it was able to come up and over the top on Libby Hill. That could also be a launch pad situation if the pace is high enough. Dave, at this kind of level, it is the reality that you can't really sit in and just attack those last 3 if you want to really get some serious separation. A lot of times you got to make the pace hard like they are right here. Freyet, now a little bit of a panic from him. We saw a quick 10 watts per kilogram from Freyet prior to even hitting Libby Hill. Dave, this is bananas, and there's still a K out.
Oh, this is amazing. Some of the best racing we've seen in a long time. I thought that group was going to split, Nathan, but they're able to weld it back together. That's going to take a lot of energy, no doubt about it. How about low today? Neil Friette has been, in my mind, over the last 3 months, he's been the breakthrough racer. Got to give Kerbo credit. He's kept the pace high. I think it's for David Talbot today. We'll see what they want to do with that. Stefan Zalvesen here has been really, really impressive as well, but that's all a moot point now as it's Grupo Compacto all together. It's not that far off that we take that hard 180-degree turn, and then really, Nathan, Libby Hill starts about 400 meters before Libby Hill actually starts there, as these guys are going to try to get out in front of it. Again, Kerbo, got to give him gold star for the ride he's put together so far today, and I see Spencer Segerbruch, the pride of St. Louis now, starting to move up. So really, really impressive job by this team, not letting the big, well, actually, at this point now, it's fair to say that Sarah Snowpins comes in as one of the big squads, but nobody's going to put Baby in a corner out here today.
Yeah, it's going to be Salveson now on the front here, starting to ramp things up for next, presented by Insured. Now here comes Farm Watts. It's Hayden Pucker. We were talking about him being perhaps the bane of the existence recently. And Kerbo, he gave us a little bit of a, okay, that's my job is done. You were right, Dave. He was the lead-out man into this, but here goes Reidenbach, the man from Turbo, coming out of nowhere, 9 watts per kilogram. But this is very early, Dave, to be going at the bottom here to top on Libby Hill. He's got to max out at 200 beats per minute if he thinks he's going to hold on in front of this pack of Hungry Wolves.
Yeah, Hungry Wolves is right, Nathan, and I am watching closely for Brian Duffy Jr. He's sitting perfectly positioned back in this group. This is our leader, Michael Reidenbach. This is how you make your name on Zwift. No doubt about it. Look at that heart rate, over 190 beats per minute. This man is dimming the power grid all over Virginia at this point. You can't get your microwave oven to work as Michael is now all in, deep into the Libby Hill experience, as this is now the catch being made. And, well, it looks like Levinson, Nathan, is back up there again.
Your man Talbot, though, here. David, is he going to make it happen? Look, Sars is all over this, Dave. They may not have been winning an ERL just as of yet, but here they are at the front, Dave. Are they going to show up when it matters the most? But look who's right on their wheels. It's going to be Brian Duffy Jr., Zach Neer, Jean Brun. Oh, man, Jay Brun is here as well, Dave. So many green jerseys. It's pink and green with a little bit of purple spread in there with restart, Dave. All 3 teams have made it into this front group, and now the attack over the top. It's going to be Cogburn.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially on like Donkey Kong here at the U.S. National Championships. Race 1 of 3. Sarah Snowpins is standing up, and they've been throwing body blow after body blow. But my concern now, Nathan, is what is coming from next in short. Is they look like they are sitting on a powder keg of dynamite, to tell you the truth. This is going to be Cameron Cogburn that we've got off the front. This is the 3rd Sarah Snowpins rider of note so far. I mean, they definitely have been the team of the race. But as we make our way into the final kilometers and coming back down, Nathan, here we go. It's really going to be critical that you're positioned well as you hit the bottom of Governor. Here comes Brian Duffy Jr. Brian Duffy Jr. is moving forward, and this is going to have the alarm bells ringing all over Richmond. Zach Nair is there. He's back with his next in short team, and the charge is on. Nathan, they've opened the throttle all the way up here on 23rd.
Yeah, Duffy Jr. all in. It looks like up over the top of 23rd. His teammate, though, now to the front, it looks like it's going to be Uberti, Duffy Jr., the 2 of them making the moves, but Freyet knows exactly who to jump on when it comes to the wheels here. Look at the face on Duffy Jr. He wants this one. He's been setting up for it all through the Echelon Racing League, but can he deliver when it matters? His teammate Uberti to the front now, it looks like, trying to lean out Duffy Jr. The splits are happening now, Dave. It looks like 3, 4, 5, a little bit of a group behind. I think it's going to come back together, but it's going to be a reduced field here for the climb up and over the top of Governors.
We've got an OSS situation. Only the strong survive. We've got Governors coming up. How about David Talbot? David Talbot is standing up to next in short. This is a phenomenal ride from Talbot, but man, has he got his hands full as Jay Brun is there. Jay Brun has been one of the top Americans over the last 4 years. He's been a consummate teammate on this next in short team as well. He's exactly the guy you want riding shotgun with you if you're Brian Duffy Jr. So let's sort this one out and take some inventory here. Nathan, it looks to me now like Zach Neer here. I'm going to guess Neer gets out in front of this for his teammate Brian Duffy Jr. That would be the play if I were next insured.
Looking back here, it looks like in with the top 12, let's say here. We're trying to find the back end of this. So
15,
apologies on
maybe?
that for a second. Maybe 15. Yeah, I was looking for where the exact split was there. Zimmer has made it from Project Echelon. We've got Duffy Jr. Bruin is here as well. It's all going to be about the setup with the punch. Now, Dave, this is a drag up Governors at a solid 5 to 6% gradient, and then there's a kick afterwards. Restart all over the front of this. Jaden Yager being the laid out man. It's got to be for Neil Freyat, wouldn't you think, Dave?
100%, Nathan. Let's see. So Jaden already has a national championship as a master. Let's see what he can do. This is going to be Chris Uberti. I have a feeling Uberti, same kind of concept here, is they're trying to set the table for their teammates. Nathan, Governors is one of the most underrated climbs. This is nearly as hard as 23rd. It's not quite as featured as Libby, but this is it. Right here, right now. It's all going down in race number 1 of 3. I don't know how you beat Brian Duffy Jr. today, but David Talbot's going to try to show me.
Oh, now the kick's coming here. Here comes Talbot. Now the response here coming in. It's going to be Neer here trying to respond as well. Neer's in 4th place. Duffy Jr. up and over the top at 5.9 watts per kilogram. Zach Neer's got 9 watts per kilogram. This is a guy who could go from way out from this moment forward. He's either going to be the lead out man or he's going to take the win because I think Zach Neer's going all in.
Oh, going nuclear powered right now. Look at that face on Zach Neer as it's etched with pain. You don't dig any deeper than he is right now, but I think it's really going to be working out for his teammate here as well as Brian Duffy Jr. is right there. This is the charge of the Light Brigade. Our finale, Nathan, of race number 1. There's 200 points waiting at the line for our first finisher, 190 for second. This makes a big difference. Wow, Neil Freyat. What a ride from Neil. He's going to make his mark here, Nathan.
Is Freyat going to do it? No, Duffy coming. It's going to be Brian Duffy Jr. for the punch to the line. Duffy Jr. all in. Brian Duffy Jr. makes it happen or no? Freyat's going to kick to the line. Who's it going to be? It's going to be Duffy. Duffy takes it down. Bruin, the next one across the line. I believe. Oh, he just hit the handlebars. Oh, David, Michael in the back end API. That was a close one.
Ah, boy. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is what USA Cycling's Esports National Championship is all about. You don't dig digger. I still think that was Brian Duffy Jr. We'll go look at the count back with the back end API. It don't lie. But Nathan, one thing's for sure, that was a thrilling bike race. How about Zach Neer getting out there to help set up his teammate Brian Duffy Jr.? Neil Freyat, he's the breakthrough rider of the year without any question on the restart presented by Alex Co team. So these teams showed their patience.
Dave, I mean,
Jr.
It's got to be, right? I mean, look, yeah, that was just a celebration. That was a celebration is what that was. It had to have
that
been.
Was enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, man.
Was that awesome?
The racing is so good. It's seriously is just so good. Absolutely love it. Well, we've still got finishers coming on through. Lots of riders still out on course, making their way around. And as they do, and as they finish up, we're going to get our results in as quickly as we possibly can. And we'll get all of our Omnium set up here for all of you. But Dave, amazing.
Yeah, so Nathan, really quickly, I'm going to try to catch my breath here as well, but we're going to be showing now, we have the women coming up next, but we'll have an opportunity to show you the results from this race and then the corresponding Omnium points, and we'll do that as we head into Bologna for our 8-kilometer time trial next. You'll see those results along with the updated Omnium points. As I mentioned, the Omnium is scored 200, 190, 180 on down. That's in the top 10 spots where, Nathan, I think most of our focus will be with this national championship being decided in this 3-race format. Riders finishing outside of the top 15 in any one single event, that really makes it tough to come back from.
Well, we do have results here, Dave. Why don't you take it away for us for the, we'll get through the top 20 to 30 or so. Let me see if I can reload for a top 30 here. I got 28 finishers so far. Go ahead, Dave.
Great. Thanks, Nathan. Fantastic job with the production as well. Brian Duffy Jr. taking the win with Neil Freyat right there in what we could call a virtual photo finish. Neil Freyat ending up with the silver medal. It's Jay Broom in third. So next, presented by Insured, gets 2 riders in the top 3, but make it 3 in the top 4 with Zach Nair there in 4th. David Talbot, strong ride by Sarah's No Pins today, and David Talbot props them up with a 5th place. Hayden Pucker. We talked about Hayden at the top of the broadcast. That's the rider coming out of the woodwork here for Restart, presented by Alex Coe. So Farm Watts for 6th. Matt Zimmer up there in 7th place today. Spencer Segbrook in 8th. Tom Corrigan. There's a name to watch. Put a gold star next to that one. We'll hear a lot more from Tom. Tom in 9th today with freshly minted 35-39 Masters National Champion Scott Catanzaro ending up in 10th for next, presented by Insured. So that's your top 10. Let's go a little bit deeper, though, as it's going to be Cameron Cogburn up there for Sarah's No Pins in 11th. Eric Levinson spent a lot of time off the front of the race out here today. Might even get our Most Aggressive Rider award for race number 1. Good job, Eric, for Sarah's No Pins. He's in 12th. Chris Uberti in 13th for next. There's Fred Meredith. We noted Fred racing under the colors of the Welsh flag here, but obviously qualifying to be part of the U.S. National Championships presented by Project Echelon. Fred Meredith in 14th. Jaden Yeager for 15th. Eric Hill, the boss, in 16th for the Project Echelon team. Wyatt Paul, 17th. Nate Sobek, 18th. Dennis Shaniger in 19th. Alan Lowe, also active out there today, and a name to remember. Good job today's Alan Fines, 20th. We're looking at our men's event number 1 here for 3 events today in our U.S. National Championship. And Michael Reidenbach ends up 21st. Paul Napier in 22nd. Ned Bowen for 23rd. Chris Olson in 24th. Brian Kellison in 25th. Mason Roca, another national champion, back for more here with our elites. Good job, Mason Roca, 26th. Nate Weekly in 27th. And then James Rainbow rounding out our top 28. And I think we're going to leave that there. We've got we're going to look at our Omnium points now. And there you have it. Brian Duffy Jr. with the 200 on top of the table after event number 1. Can't do better than that. So that's the start he was looking for. Neil Freyet can't complain. 190 points in 2nd with Jay Brune there in 3rd for next, presented by Insured. Zach Nair in 4th. These are the same top 10. It just gives you a chance to look at how the points break down here. Zach Nair, 175 there in 4th. 5 points ahead of David Talbot. Hayden Pucker, 165, 160 for Matt Zimmer. Spencer Segbrook, 155, 150 for Tom Corrigan. And the points will be the same distribution for the next 2 races, as they do have a 8-kilometer race coming up in Bologna, followed by we'll be heading to Niocchio for our criterium with 23.4K of racing there. But that's a look at how the points stand. Go a little bit deeper here, and you'll get a feel for how it tightens up with Cameron Cogburn there in 11th. But again, after the first race, all of these places will correspond to what you saw earlier.
100%. Well, Dave, we've got 2 minutes to start for our ladies out here today in Richmond. I'm really excited for this race as well, Dave. The women's race, some of the biggest hitters, what are our favorites coming in here, Dave? Kristen Kolchinski, I think, has got this one really, really on her radar, but she has had Elise Gallegos. She has been, Gallegos, we got it there. Gallegos has been a little bit of something that'd be on her mind, I think, over the last week or so.
I would think so. And, again, I realize we're speaking to a global audience, but here in the United States and Canada, but I can only really speak to the United States, there's been a respiratory virus that's been going around. And I know a few riders have been affected by this. And that really is heartbreaking when you think about how much work goes into it and the importance with this heightened value added to the U.S. National Championship. I mean, you really feel like this is a turning point in esports racing, getting Project Echelon along with USA Cycling, Zwift, and Zwift Community Live all on the same page. There's a real synergy that we've got here. So I know the riders felt that, and my hope is that some of the riders that were sick are going to get that miracle and feel a lot better today. But as you talk about Elise Gallegos, Nathan, she's the breakthrough rider of the year, and absolutely more than just a rider to watch. I think she comes in as one of the top 3 favorites here, without any doubt. Some of the other names I see: Christy Tracy, one of the riders taking the start; Liz Van Houweling, that's a rider you have to be aware of. Sarah Roach has been coming on strong. Sarah, off of a silver medal in her race yesterday in her Master National Championship. You never know. You really don't. That's a big part of racing, Nathan, is on any given day, if you've done the work, even the best riders need to catch a break. A little bit of luck goes a long way on a USA Cycling National Championship day. There's Paige One-Row taking the start. So all of the heavy hitters are here, it looks like, Nathan.
Yeah, and here we go. 9 seconds to go here, Dave, as we are ready to rock when it comes to our national championships for the ladies. Getting out on course now. It's going to be Gallegos now, Godby, Sidlick is here, Jennifer Reel, Nyquist, Kolchinski has made the start line. Great to see Kristen here now as well, and I have a feeling she is definitely going to be watching the front end of this pack like a hawk.
Yeah, I mean, I would put Kristen Kolchinski into my Hall of Fame of the greatest American esports racers of all time. She's one of the riders that, when I talk about that respiratory virus or illness going around, that I'm certainly hoping that she's not as affected by it as she could be. I mean, that's certainly, it goes without saying that you don't want anybody sick out here. And I think it's fair to say that all of the top riders hope for that level playing field. That's for sure. So this is a course that, Nathan, I'm seeing now Jackie Godby is taking the start. I do want to make sure that she's in the field.
I do see her. Yep. I definitely saw Jackie. Yep.
Wow. So that's a big name to take the start here as well. Mentioned Jen Reel and Christy Tracy, but how about M. Nyquist as well, Nathan? There's another rider who's just waiting for that breakthrough ride. She also took a national championship in a Masters race yesterday. I believe that was the 40-44 group.
Yeah, and M. Nyquist is definitely a rider who has recently been taking it to just a whole nother level. She's been showing up all over the place, Dave, with these amazing results, actually. And her fitness, I know, has just been step on step on top of it, every single week, better and better and better. And yesterday really showed she was almost able to match the efforts of Stephanie Sidlick. And Sidlick is, one of the top racers when it comes to any kind of elite racing out on Zwift. So for her to be able to respond to that and go almost toe to toe with Stephanie Sidlick really shows me that Nyquist is taking it to another level.
Melissa Aitken is another rider that has really come on strong. Sarah Roach and Melissa Aitken, to me, Nathan, are the two that have emerged this year. And there's big results ahead for them as they learn their Zwiftcraft. And it's only a matter of time until they're right there with the Elise Gallegos and getting the huge results. I have to be honest, Nathan. I mean, after what we've seen in the Echelon Racing League, and a huge thank you to Eric Hill and Frank Cundiff and everybody behind the scenes at Project Echelon for what's creating what has been when you look at what that series has done, the professionalism, the dual recording, it has really leveled up the sport, no doubt. And we're feeling that here at our national championship. And I think two of the riders, going back to Melissa Aitken and Sarah Roach, that we've seen catching this latest wave, Nathan, it's been fun to watch. I mean, Kristen Kolchinski's been established. She's going with 2 big blue bottles today. So it's a lot of racing here, Nathan, over the next, I'm going to say 2.5 hours for the ladies. But it's certainly a very familiar sight to see Kristen Kolchinski here as she's racing out of Montauk, New York.
Yeah, and Dave, it's a good point. It's a really good point about the amount of fueling. Let's talk about that for a second here, Dave. I think the ladies taking this on a little bit, with a smaller, reduced field here, Dave, I have a feeling that the punches are going to be a lot more exact. You know what I mean? Like there isn't the numbers here. And so because of that, it changes the way that you race it. You can if you take too much risk, things could go haywire with not a lot of wheels to jump onto.
risk reward. I mean, I completely agree, Nathan. And if you look at it from Kolchinski's perspective or from Elise Gallegos' perspective, the longer that these women are willing to do this, I think the better for those two right now. Is for them, the race starts at the bottom of Libby Hill. Do you track with me on that? I think that they're both willing to just eliminate, because if you look at the profile of the course, it's flat and downhill all the way until it basically isn't. And it goes ballistic for the last, what we talked, you just saw it in the men's race, going from Libby to 23rd to Governors. That's where this race happens. This race is definitely won on that last kilometer in Governors.
100%. And as we saw in the last race, now here's the thing. We could see a situation, I think, though, where a rider might be strong enough. I mean, amongst them, who's watching each other? That's going to be the question, right? I think Elise Gallegos, we're looking, I mean, I would even throw Em Nyquist in there now, though, at this point, Dave, with the way that she's been riding. Stephanie Sidlick. We're looking at, Liz Van Houwen's going to be in there. Godby. Now, she is a wild card, Dave. She's an absolute wild card, because up until this point in the season, But, Dave, that's a rider who could put some serious work in for a couple of months, and the next thing you know, show up and be like, where did that come from?
Yeah, absolutely, Nathan. And she's one of those riders that she's been the top American at the highest level when it's mattered over the last 4 years. She's the first American to stand on the podium at the World Championships. She's definitely been our flag bearer, but has gone through a relatively tough last 6 months. She has a heavy workload in the medical field. So she has a lot on her plate for sure, but when she focuses, Jackie Godby has been, there's nobody in esports who's unbeatable, but Jackie's put herself as close to being in that conversation really as any of these riders. And Nathan, we still haven't really, I think a lot of what I just said about Jackie Godby would apply to Liz Van Houweling as well. Liz Van Houweling has had stellar results, maybe not at the top of her peak form right now, but also maybe she's getting there.
100%. And I think watch out for Van Houweling. Van Houweling can have also one of those breakthrough performances for sure. So Liz Van Houweling, definitely one to be watching out for. And Dave, this is a different situation than just a one-off race, right? This is the situation where, you've got 3 different kinds of races all in a row. And, some riders might prefer that kind of a race of attrition over time. Like you said, Dave, if anybody's been putting in the work for longer rides, efforts after efforts after efforts, it's not just a one and done at this point, right? With an Omnium, Dave, this is racing over 2 hours of racing in total with absolutely to the limit efforts each time draining the tank here, Dave. So it's definitely a different type of racing where we might crown a different type of champion.
That's a really good point, Nathan. And I look at riders. I love the fact that we have some new names, some fresh talent to be talking about. Elise Gallegos comes to this sport as a rider, as we're looking right now at Liz Van Houweling there, as Liz actually might as well just jump right in, as Liz Van Houweling is one of these riders that absolutely could win today. Look at her focus like a laser right now. Liz does not play around with racing. And I have a feeling that, just the look on her face tells me that she came here to win a national championship. I did want to get back to what I was saying, though, following your point, Nathan, is that riders who have an ultra endurance background, Sarah Roach coming from the world of marathon running, or Elise Gallegos coming from the world of triathlon, that has to benefit them by the time we get into the third race here today.
That's a great point. Actually, I think that's exactly what's going to be happening here. Lester now to the front. Interesting enough. This is a rider I haven't seen around for a little while. Good to see her jumping in with us now and making a little bit of moves at the front. Very cool to see here from Lester, as she's just been kind of setting the pace too, Dave. Like this is okay. Just going to roll at the front. I don't care. Do what you like. I've got this.
Yeah. And at this level, it's relatively unheard of this deep in. We're 5K in now, riding on the front with the biggest names in American esport. She's got to feel pretty good about herself. So taking a look at this group, Nathan, I'm really starting to feel that it all goes down at the bottom of Libby. To tell you the truth, I think that there's been a bit of a détente or a truce amongst this group, which is a little bit of a surprise. but I think it speaks to also the fact that, we're looking at a sub 20 rider group. I
Yeah,
believe that's Lester that you're
yeah,
in
that's
with.
Megan Lester. Yep, that's Megan Lester for sure. And she's definitely putting the work in at the front. There's Riley Wrightsman. These guys are in Wisconsin. I absolutely love it. I'm assuming they're in Wisconsin. I raced with Riley actually at Toad, and this guy definitely a strong roadie, that's for sure. And he jumped in today with us. Actually, I was a little surprised to see him on the start line. Great to see him though, racing with us out here on Zwift.
So Meg Lester here, very impressive what she's doing, and you get the feeling for the effort. I love these in-cam shots. But Nathan, would you do me a favor and contrast this with Liz Van Houweling again, who looks like she's doing her taxes right now? Look at Liz Van Houweling's face. See what I mean?
Yeah, pretty chill at this point. Pretty chill.
Very chill. Yeah, that's a lot of experience there. That's someone whose central nervous system, it's probably pretty hard to get Liz Van Houweling riled up.
Yeah, I mean, cool as a cucumber, that's for sure, I would say. And here's Gallegos as she's, look at that setup. I'm absolutely loving that fan right in the face here. Sunshine coming on in and plenty of Zwift right in front of her.
Yeah, that's nice and clean, isn't it? I'm wondering what her motivational statement is. Something about the limit there.
It's hard to beat the person who never gives up. And then on the left-hand side, something limit is you. Your only limit is you, I'm assuming.
Your only limit is you. There we go.
Yeah. Good
this
stuff.
is your breakthrough star, in my mind, Nathan. We're going to hear a lot more. Maybe this is where Liz Van Houweling was 2 years ago, is everybody's going to have their origin story. She's a mom of two, a world-class triathlete. She's been an Iron Woman multiple times in her career, and I'd be interested to know what percentage of Zwifters identify as a triathlete versus a cyclist. And many, I think, identify as both, to tell you the truth. But that is Elise Gallegos that we're in with right now. And Nathan, I mean, she is not breaking through. She's fully broken through at this point and comes in, to be honest, especially with the rumors that have been going around about riders suffering with respiratory issues. Elise Gallegos is a favorite.
She won the last
field.
ERL. She won the last ERL. And the
yourself.
thing with Elise, the thing with Elise is every one of her wins or podiums so far in the RL have been on races that were more attritional. She wasn't able to match on Crit City versus Gabriela Guerra, my wife, obviously, but then and Kristen Kolchinski. They, I watched that here live, and it was just nonstop pow, 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 pow in Crit City. But once they moved over to Innsbruck, she was able to break away early and hold almost to the line on the top of the Innsbruck after party before Kolchinski just caught her in the last couple of K. This is a rider who loves attrition. That's the thing here. And that's going to be her wild card that she can play today. She's got jokers up the sleeve with that, Dave.
Yeah, 100%, Nathan. And yeah, that's one rider. And what we can do is keep breaking this down. And it's nice the women are giving us a chance to here as it's still Grupo Compacto. There's a path to victory that's imaginable for every rider as we take a look at Elise Gallegos here. But that's Jackie Godby that on paper comes in as the most decorated American in esports. I think that Kristen Kolchinski has had a limelight on her, especially with her racing style. And one of the best races that speaking of Gabby Guerra, one of the best races that we've ever seen was on Project Echelon series just a few weeks ago with Guerra and Kolchinski going to the line together. And that's really been the theme of Project Echelon, is just great racing. And you never know who's going to come along and upset the apple cart. As I take a look at riders, I've mentioned Sarah Roach. Melissa Aitken deserves the same kind of recognition. She has really been doing the work, coming on strong, consistently getting results. And it's not getting results against weak fields. Quality of competition means an awful lot out here. These women look to race against the best, and that's exactly what we've got here. As we see Jen Reel out of Texas, a multi-time national champion here. Jen Reel has done a lot of work in real life and virtually. She represented the United States as our director. That's Jen there. She won yesterday, looking to pick up another today.
Yeah, our current now reigning 45-49 national champion. Now looking for another result here in and amongst the elites. I absolutely love it that they can race back to back too. It's kind of cool that you can have that situation.
Yeah, exactly. A few of the women in this group and a lot of our men as well are racing both days here, racing in their master category. And here with the elites. Well, what do we got here, Nathan?
Move here. Yeah. We've got Lester. She's not messing around here, Megan Lester. Loving it here, Dave.
Yeah, this farm Watts, Wisconsin Watts, very, very impressive. As I love the fact that, Nathan, if I had told you that Megan Lester would be attacking this race in the back half, that I think a lot of people would say, who? Well, now you know her name. Good job, Megan. That's Megan right there throwing down. She's a Watt wagon right now. As well, she's been the one that's lifting the pace. Stephanie Sidlick moving up now. Here we go, Nathan. I think we're going to move into the next phase of this race. The counterattack should be coming here. They've elevated. They've levitated.
They definitely have. Actually, now it looks like here another community member here, Paige One-Row, jumping in with us. Great to see Paige. Actually met Paige at the Tour of America's Dairyland. She's races a ton of crits in real life, actually. Very well known amongst the Zwift community. So great to see her jumping in with us in and amongst the elites now as well. Looks like she's having a good race hanging with the elite pack. But Dave, this is where things are really going to start to ramp up.
Yeah, and speaking of Melissa Aiken and Sarah Roach, there they are right up on the front right now. M. Nyquist also starting to charge. So, Nathan, the big hitters, relatively patient up to this point. I certainly think that it's a well-advised tactic, as with this many strong women still in the group, you don't want to stick your head out. The tall tree gets the wind. You don't want to be that tall tree right now.
No, and it looks like Aiken here took over at the front there at 5 watts per kilogram quickly, but now backs right on off, and that's definitely what she's going to want to do. Actually, maybe swarmed rather than backed off, Dave, because if you find yourself at the front, at the bottom of a descent like that, a lot of times the roll-through speed's going to get the better of you. Van Holly now at the back, just resting up, it looks like, as they're starting to look forward toward that Libby Hill. Now the tension is going to start building a little bit more, Dave. Now we're starting to talk about a narrative of what this race has actually been about this whole time. What's in front of them? 3 bumps in the road, Dave, that are going to feel like mountains.
Yeah, it's funny, Nathan, when you said bumps, I thought to myself, boy, that's a big bump. It really is. And when you talk about Libby Hill, this is America's featured climb. No doubt about it. Going back to that 2015 Worlds, this was where 10,000 Americans were absolutely roaring through this event, cheering for their favorites like Corinne Lebecki. Well, here today, you get to choose out your favorite. Is it Melissa Aiken? How about Elise Gallegos? Can she get the biggest win of her career going against the monsters like Jackie Godby, Kristen Kulczynski? And Nathan, Kristen Kulczynski, how can you ever leave her out of a conversation when it comes down to championship racing? And I know that she's had a tough week, and it definitely looks like she's doing it. That's Kulczynski coming on your screen right now. The VBR, that's Virginia Blue Ridge 2024 team. She's a legitimate Hall of Famer. This sort of reminds me of when Michael Jordan was playing with the flu in the NBA Finals. You never know when championship athletes, even if they're sick, you never know what they're going to deliver on game day. Melissa Aiken is looking to make the most of a great situation. Look how low her heart rate is, all things considered, Nathan. Down in the mid-150s. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, well done here by Aiken here, just staying in and amongst it and keeping it pretty chill as far as the heart rate goes. That's really what it's going to be all about here coming into this, is that they've all reserved so much energy. Everybody, I think at this point, Dave, everyone's just thinking about, can we hang on and get the best absolutely placing over the top of that Governor's Street? More of a, okay, Dave, because really, this is all about just dropping like flies, isn't it, Dave? Like, it's kind of just, okay, did I make that one? All right, reset after Libby. All right, did I make 23rd? I've made 23rd, or you're the aggressor over 23rd. Now we got to look at Governors, and then it's just this all-out dash to the line after you've made or have not made Governors, Dave. It's really a very interesting course when it comes down to the way you have to race it.
How many riders, Nathan, are in the front group as we go into the red kite prayer? Is it 5? Is it 3? Is it 1? It's really hard to predict what's going to happen out here, and that's what's so exciting about this racing is this could go a whole bunch of different ways. But Nathan, this is the big U-turn. I say right here, right now, this race really gets going because we're starting to ramp it up. Watch the gradient there in the top right-hand corner. You're going to see it kind of go up and down a little bit, but all of a sudden we're into Libby Hill, and you know that the attacks are going to be coming. So Jackie Godby well positioned here. Meg Lester having an incredible ride. Melissa Aiken up there. Jen Reel still waiting, though, for the Van Howlings, the Gallegoses, and the Kolchinskis to make their move. They're really playing the patience card. We're going to go back now to Jackie Godby in her pain cave.
Godby here now, Dave. Does she's got it today? That's a big question mark here. You know, we keep talking about all of these different athletes that I have a little bit more confidence about my predictions. Today, I really have no idea what's going to be coming from Godby. But look at this, Dave. The move is coming in here from Sidlick. Early going here from Sidlick. Interesting to see Stephanie Sidlick. But you know, if Stephanie's going to win, this is how she's got to do it, Dave. She's got to take it to the rest of them because it really is for her about taking it to them on the climbs. We've seen her do it time and time again. She's always been just that third place, that fourth place, in that second, not quite able to get the W's. Will today be Sidlick's day?
Nathan, I'm looking at Elise Gallegos. For me, she's like the sea lions sitting outside of the locks waiting for the salmon to pop through, and she's just going to chomp into them. This is going to be a really big moment for her. Kolchinski trying to get up on that wheel, but I really expect the explosion is coming. It's like a ticking time bomb as we're here on the cobbles of Libby Hill right now. And looks like Gallegos is just about ready to launch. She's entered the code. It's Roach on her wheel. Great job by Sarah Roach to hold on right now. She's up on out of the saddle. She's gone to the whip and is absolutely flogging herself now. So this is it. Big move, big moment as Elise Gallegos is going to split this group. How much damage is she going to do here, Nathan?
Gallegos now, what a move here by Gallegos, really pushing the pressure here up at that 11%. Now Nyquist, now Kolchinski's here. Van Howling's made it. We also still see Sarah Roach. It's going to be Stephanie Sidlick on it. Jennifer Reel is still with it as well, Davis. There's plenty of bodies still making this initial kick. Gallegos, she pulls the pin here, Dave, but the grenade's not gone off just yet.
No, how about Kolchinski? More than holding her own out there right now. Sarah Roach up, and over the top. This is an incredible ride by Sarah Roach here out of Houston, Texas. So Sarah Roach is going to bring them up and over the top of Libby. We're going to dive bomb our way. Nathan, this is where Zwiftcraft is so critical. This next 500 meters or so, you can really, really do yourself a favor if you can play it right. That's, again, Sarah Roach. What an incredible ride Sarah Roach is having out here today. It's Melissa Aiken sitting on her two-wheel. They're both the rookies of the year here in 2020. Well, I was going to say 2023, moving into 2024. Stephanie Sidlick there, the pride of Pittsburgh, sitting third wheel. Kolchinski fourth wheel. So, wow, we are really starting to sort things out as we are dive bombing our way down to the bottom of 23rd now.
Sarah Roach here. Nice little attack from her, but Dave, is it too much too early here? Is there
she's
got a little bit of a gap here, actually. Maybe set up her teammate. Aiken now coming up over the top, it looks like here. But Dave, here comes the ramp up over the top. It's Liz Van Howling. Van Howling with a kick. Whoa, Dave. Is this going to be her day? Liz, what a move by her. She's got a whole bunch of power coming on through. 10 watts per kilogram. She looks so calm. Look at how calm she is, Dave.
Nathan Gallegos must have just had a dropout. Something happened there at the front as Van Howling is going absolutely ballistic, but Gallegos is, So that is a dramatic moment here. So Liz Van Howling is our leader. We've lost Gallegos. Gallegos has had a power dropout. She is out of the race. Unbelievable. So she was going ballistic when that blew. She was on the front, and then now let's go back to the front of the race so we pick up the action as Liz Van Howling is our leader. Kolchinski now taking over. That's going to be KK to the front. So, we talked a lot about how she was feeling coming into this race. KK putting them into trouble right now. Van Howling, KK, Sidlick, Nyquist, Reel. That's your top five with Godby just sitting outside of the top five. That is your race leader, Kristen Kolchinski. We lost Gallegos. That's a heartbreaker.
Oh, it's such a heartbreak. Maybe she can still finish and have a good couple of races. She's got to still finish, not give up. But Dave, has her trainer completely gone out? But now we're back at the front of the race. She's still sitting at 0 watts per kilogram. Is she just crushed? I mean, Oh, so much into one moment, but now it's going
Crushed.
to be Gabi getting back involved. Look at, oh my God. Why did you start texting, Kristen? Oh my goodness, real here now. Kolchinski, Sidlik, Nyquist, Van Howling, Gabi looking to get back on terms. Look at the effort from Sarah Roach. 9 watts per kilogram from Roach. Absolutely love to see the effort from this rider trying to get back involved in this race.
Sarah Roach is an absolute fighter, no doubt about it. And look at that. She is back. So we are looking at an absolute Donnybrook going on out here right now. To bring you up to speed for our women's race, unfortunately, we lost one of our big favorites, Elise Gallegos. The other flip side of that is, Nathan, when you talk about the respiratory virus, one of the best ways to get over that is a huge adrenaline dump. And that's exactly what it looks like Kristen Kolchinski's been doing out here. So going back now to the front of the race, this is going to be Sarah Roach out of Houston, Texas, our leader. Boy, Texas all over the front of this races. That's going to be Jen Reel sitting second wheel, then Sidlik, but it does look like it's going to come back together. This is the great...
Doesn't want to sprint. She doesn't want to sprint, Dave. And there she goes. This is the moment she's been waiting for. She's been told to wait right till now. Look at the effort from Kolchinski, all in on this Governor Street. 8 watts per kilogram. Can anyone respond?
Well, if you're going to come for the queen, you best not miss. And I think they took a big shot and went right by her head as Kristen Kolchinski is your leader. This is a command performance. Now, Nathan, can she close out the deal? I think everybody who's watched KK over the last few years knows that I would not bet against her, that's for sure. As KK is hungry for a national championship, she came to Richmond to lick her dinner plate clean, and that's exactly what she's doing right now. There's not going to be 1 watt left when this one is done and dusted. Nathan, this will go down as one of KK's greatest rides, knowing that she's been fighting illness all week long. Look at the gap that KK has opened up. She's leaving them in the dust. Holy cow, I did not see this one happening. KK, you are legend.
Yeah, she's got a solid 8 seconds here at this point, Dave, so it is going to be a race for second place. Sidlik setting up behind here, Dave, but this is going to be your winner of the first race. It is an Omnium. There's still 2 races to go, but she's going to put a stamp on this one and say, come and get me, everybody, because I'm here to win.
Yeah, well, I have to admit, we had heard that she was sick all week. We've known a lot of folks in the Zwift community that have been battling that. This shows you what Kristen Kolchinski is all about. This woman is pure heart and passion. I don't know of anybody who's dedicated themselves more to esports racing. This doesn't win her the national championship, but it was a great first step. 200 points and the win to Kristen Kolchinski. How about Liz Van Howling, Nathan?
Great ride from Van Howling, actually. What a bounce back from a rough ERL, actually, I would say, from her estimation. But it is going to be Van Howling across the line, followed up by Sidlik. Then it's going to be Nyquist with Reel, and then Roach. That is a huge ride, actually, coming in from M. Nyquist. What a result for M.
Huge. Really huge. So this is the quality of American racers that we have here in 2024. And as an American myself, I'm very happy to see that this is where we're at. That's our champion, Krista Kolchinski. She looked like she was just texting her coach, Josh Lipka. They work very, very closely together on that Virginia Blue Ridge 2024 team. Nathan, we've got a very quick turnaround.
Yeah,
however,
this is extremely quick, actually. So let's jump in real quickly. We'll just get into our top 10 of what just happened, because that was, we've got a lot to still show you across the board, actually, when it comes to all of the riders. So when it comes to the next race, actually, that's about to start, actually, for us. So let's go ahead and take a quick little look here. This is your top 10 as it played out.
I'm going to hammer through this, Nathan. Kristen Kolchinski taking the win. Liz Van Howling for second. Stephanie Sidlik in third. What a race. Emily Nyquist for fourth today. Jen Reel in fifth. Sarah Roach for sixth. Jackie Godby in seventh. Melissa Aitken in eighth. And Christy Tracy rounds out our top 9. Yeah, so again, good problem to have with so much racing happening here. The men and the women's elite national championships. That's your top 9. We do have the corresponding Omnium points to go along with that, as Kolchinski will have a 10-point advantage heading into Bologna for race number 2. They'll be heading heading over to Neokio for the third race. But again, Kolchinski for the win, Van Houweling for second. And these are the Omnium points. There's Sidlik now with 180 points sitting in third. M. Nyquist at 175 in fourth. Jen Reel there with 170. And you can see Sarah Roach at 165. Jackie Godby, 160, 155 for Melissa Aiken and Christy Tracy, rounding out our top 9. It does score deeper than that, and we'll keep an eye on that for you. But that's where things stand right now after race number 1 for our women. Race 1 of 3 as we jump back in as the men now looking at that countdown, Nathan. We're in Bologna on May 11th in 2019. This was the Giro d'Italia Stage 9, the time trial stage, an exact GPS
and this is a time
replica.
trial. Yeah, let's make sure everybody knows there is no drafting on. They are forced onto the Zwift TT bikes, and all bikes are neutralized. Just so everybody knows, that is the situation.
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. So this is fun. I've really loved these kinds of races because what you get is in real-time data on what your position is and your pacing changes. This is really an interesting mental battle for riders out here, not taking the bait at times to keep to your pacing schedule. Or do you? We're underway here in Italy.
In Italy now with the TT, as it's going to be right from the get-go. What's going to the big question here? Brian Duffy Jr. able to take that initial win, Dave, but this is a different kind of race. I mean, this is not about just tactics. This is a pure power strategy, and you've really got to figure out how to pace yourself and just I mean, look at Birdie, Yuka Kubro, they don't even care. And Dave, because of the climb at the end, a rider like Matt Kubro, he's going to want to do something like this to get as much distance on the pack as he can, because those climbers, they're going to come flying when they actually hit that Bologna climb.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at this course profile, how it's almost completely flat until you make that hard right turn and start the climb about 2/3 of the way into this 8 kilometers. So it really all goes down in the back end of this race. But I'm with you. Matt Kerbeau has been a noteworthy rider out here today, and he's going to take it out. Now, as you were saying, Nathan, I just want to reiterate that the riders are receiving no draft here. So it's really important to note that. It changes everything.
Yeah, it is a time trial. There is no draft on at all, and the bikes are neutralized, but they are the Zwift TT bikes, okay? So the wheels don't act, they're having fun with the wheels. They know that they're neutralized, so that's why you see some of them using the steel wheels and they're having a little bit of a fun with it. Yeah, well, I like that Hayden Pucker I like what he's done here. It matches the restart. Did all the restart riders do this? Because if they did, that's pretty sick. No, Freya here not doing the same, but I'm liking what Farm Watts is bringing today.
So the equipment being neutralized allows you to have some fun with that. And again, just creating that level playing field. The reason being that, if you're a level 8,000 Zwifter, you have access to equipment that other riders don't. And we don't want that to be the determining factor. We want this based on ability and tactics out here today. So, Nathan, have you ever raced a time trial on this course? It's a really hard one to pace.
It's really hard. This is one of the hardest by far. I definitely, honestly, Dave, this one is a kick in the teeth. I mean, it's you go. The pacing up front is difficult to begin with. And then, Dave, you've got this monster of a climb in front of you at the end that just never, ever stops. It feels like here's the thing. It's shortened distance, but with how steep it is, it's so deceiving because of it. And that's what really gets me.
The shorter and steeper a time trial, well, there's a few factors here, but the Tale of Two Cities element, where you go from completely flat and then shift into a climb and then a short, steep climb, that's as brutal as time trials get. Is that Hayden Pucker that we're in with there?
That is Hayden. That is our
There we go.
man.
Farm Watts.
Yeah, hanging out in middle Wisconsin. He's got was that a fat bike? Of course he's got a fat bike over there. Of course,
yeah. And he's drinking Coca-Colas. Now, if there was a guy that you wanted to help you bring in a field of hay, that's your guy right there. I bet you he's got some hay hooks hanging up outside of the room there. as Hayden Pucker Farm Watts. That was a nickname given to him. We actually had a chance to speak with him after the race a couple of weeks ago. Farm Watts, a nickname given to him by his coach, I believe, which would be Alex Coe.
Absolutely love it. And let's go ahead and jump across here and see what the chase looks like. Here's you, Birdie. Now, here's the thing. Does Hayden know how to pace himself is going to be my question. You know, a lot of riding's been done with him amongst the Project Echelon crew, actually, because Project Echelon, you know, is based out of Wisconsin as far as home base goes. Has done a lot of riding with Eric Hill and some of the crew. And one thing with Hayden is, you know, the concern is, does he know how to pace himself? Does he work too much? Does he work too hard? I mean, that's Farm Watts, right? Like, he just gets in the field, and as you said, he makes hay. But here's the thing, Dave. Sometimes that's come back. Well, not just sometimes. That's kind of come back to bite him here and there in the Echelon Racing League, actually. But at this point, Dave, he's looking comfy. And he's got 8 seconds over this field, but I'm not sure he's got the climb to match some of these ones that may be coming on here. My big question is, Talbot here now, 6 watts per kilogram or so. This is going to be a rider to watch out for when it really starts to go up.
Yeah, he might be the rider that this course suits the best. Talking about David Talbot. Going back to Hayden Pucker, Nathan, I would rather work back from that problem as a coach, having someone that maybe pacing is the issue because they go out too hard. You can really build off of that, right? When you're looking at it from the other end, you've got a major problem. But when I have a rider who's too animated, too aggressive, I really feel like you can rein that in. You've got the spirit and the ethos of a racer nailed. And again, that's Hayden Pucker, our leader that we're looking at. Matt Kerbeau sitting second wheel. Tom Corrigan has been coming on strong and is absolutely a rider to watch with Matt Zimmer and Scott Catanzaro rounding out our top 5. This is going to change quite a bit. I'm looking at Neil Freyette. It's only a matter of time until Neil Freyette has a huge result. Could be out here today. And then Jaden Yeager is a multi-time USA Cycling National Time Trial champion. He's good in every element. He's an experienced esport racer. He's a great crit racer. And he's a great time trial.
Neil's ready to go uphill. He's pointing his camera up.
He's climbing.
I love it.
That's Neil Freyette
that
we're
Neil
with?
Freyette, yeah. And he's definitely pointed straight up.
So,
Dave, that looks familiar to me, doesn't it? Yes.
I know where he is.
Yeah, you've been there. We've done a broadcast from, what's that place called?
I can't believe
the Metier. It's the Metier.
I can't believe you recognize that. That's exactly where I was sitting when we did the broadcast with Eric Min and Kurt and the whole crew there.
Yeah, I love it that they're there. That is so
Seattle.
great. Now, I need to do a real quick correction, Dave, just because, just a shout out to Alex Tenselhoff. Alex Tenselhoff is Pucker's. Now, same first name. Of course, it makes a lot of sense to not know.
I said Cole.
Yeah.
My bad.
Cole. No,
Sorry.
It's all good. Just a couple in chat. I'm seeing plenty of the Restart and Turbo crew coming in and go, hey. Tenselhoff's got to get the credit there, and I'll give it to him 100%.
Alex. I had the Alex part right, and then I panicked, I think. So Neil Freyette has been a breakthrough rider this year there.
Well, he won one of the ERL. I mean, he won up and over the top. And this would be a favorite for him, perhaps, with that kind of a climb that he won on, Dave. Now, the thing is, this is a lot steeper, though, than the Innsbruck after party, isn't it?
Absolutely, Nathan. This was a time trial that was used in the Giro d'Italia. They don't play around. And Brian Duffy Jr. we're in with now. So again, with no draft here, Nathan, these guys are all pacing off of each other, which David Talbot was 5th in race number 1.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, maybe we should look at that. Are they pacing because it's going to be about following who they need to watch? I mean, that's a great call, Dave.
Yeah, and so right, and this is why omniums are so fascinating. That there is a huge element of brain power that goes into winning omniums and recognizing what you need to do and what's a waste of calories out there. And I think all of these guys, like what you're looking at, is basically our top 5 in that group.
Yeah, and what place are they in? 6th through, it looks like 7th, 8th, 9th or so here. We are seeing, it looks like Levinson, Freyet, as you said, David Talbot is there as well. So that's the situation. Jaden Yager now making his way forward. Now, Dave, I'm not sure that this favors Jaden too much here, but he is sitting in 5th right now, maybe going to fade climb, but perhaps I'm speaking too soon. Now, Nazaro to the front. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of our top riders. But Hayden Pucker, Dave, you can't ignore this. He's got 18 seconds, Dave. Is he just rolling this?
Well, this is what you call coming out of the woodwork at this level. So, all right, Hayden Pucker, I'm cheering for Farm Watts, no doubt. Restart is a team that has always been right there, up and out of the saddle. Now, look at the Hayden just getting after it now, absolutely giving her here. That man is a muscle with a heart attached to it, basically. Holy cow.
Man, this guy, I mean, now here's the thing, 530, 540 watts. Can he hold this kind of a, Dave, have they underestimated him? 15 seconds, Dave.
And he doesn't look like he's fading.
No, but Dave, can he hold this? 187 beats per minute right now, Dave. It's still rising, though, and I've done this to myself before on this course. I've gone out this hard. There's still a lot of climbing to go here at this point, but Dave, he's extended it out. Now Levinson's starting to turn the screws at the front here. No, this is 3rd place here. Now the pacing is starting to happen here. 4-star snow pins. Duffy's right on the wheel now. Man, this is such a great national championship. You're looking at it right here. Hayden Pucker up there. They're all watching each other for a podium right now. The cream is rising to the top. You can see exactly who is who for this national championship right now on your screen.
Oh, this is phenomenal. I don't understand why we don't do more racing like this with drafting turned off in the time trials. You can see that the pacing being done here by the next insured team. Actually, that's a restart and a next rider sitting on what's an amazing day from the Sarah's No Pins team. The real story right now is Hayden Pucker. They call him Farm Watts. He's off the front, holding on to a 20-second advantage. Boy, Nathan, I mean, how can you not be pulling for him? This would be one of the greatest underdog stories. For him to win this time trial would be mind-blowing, and he is still putting more coal on the fire. So Hayden Pucker's gone absolutely nuclear out here today. David Talbot now moving up into 2nd, and I still think Talbot is going to be in with a pretty good shot. We've definitely separated the wheat from the chaff at this point with Zimmer, Brian Duffy Jr., Eric Levinson, Neil Freyet, Cameron Cogburn, Scott Catanzaro, Zach Neer, Tom Corrigan, and Jay Brune. That's rounding out your top 10. Jaden Yeager right there as well.
Freyet, look
here
at
we
Freyet
go.
Coming on.
Look at the charge from Freyet, Nathan. Wow.
Yeah, this is
he
getting
activated.
Interesting. He's definitely activated here now, but now Levinson's going backwards here. Talbot now up and over the top. So we got Talbot. Pucker's got 20 seconds, 21 seconds,
still
7 watts per kilogram still. Dave, this is insane from Hayden Pucker.
This is a true show of strength from Hayden Pucker. I'm blown away by this. The fact that that gap is still holding at 20 is starting to make me believe that he's got a better than 50% chance of holding on to win. David Talbot's going to try to prove him wrong. Talbot is now charging. Look at the watts going up now. So Talbot is going to go ballistic at this point. Brian Duffy Jr. trying to hold on to that wheel. This is the most exciting time trial I've ever seen.
Yeah, Hayden now to the front. Let's see if we can get him involved here as well with this lineup. But Pucker, nicely done, holding on to 18. Dave, he might do it, but now the fading is coming here. Duffy Jr. up over the top. I didn't know Duffy Jr. could climb like this. 492 watts. Now the kick comes from Duffy Jr. Is he going to just put the nail in the coffin for everybody?
Wow. This man is a human wattage cottage as Brian Duffy Jr. came here to win a national championship, and he's not going to let anything get in his way. Remembering he doesn't have to win this time trial to hold on to his lead. He's in great shape right now as watch that gap at 16 seconds. There's the man absolutely relentless as he buries himself right now. Brian Duffy Jr. has gone all in. Look at Neil Freyet holding on, though. He's not letting go as he's pacing right off of Brian Duffy Jr. Battle Royale has commenced with Eric Levinson sitting just off that wheel of Neil Freyet. Behind him is David Talbot and then Matt Zimmer. So we really have separated the wheat from the chaff. 12 seconds now, Nathan. 12 seconds. We've got this at right at 8 kilometers of racing. It's going to go to the line.
It really is. Freya here now fading a little bit here. As you can see, it's going to be Duffy Jr. continuing on. Neil, look at the face of Freya. He's really struggling now at this point, Dave. Can he hold on to this wheel? He's going to kick again. He's up and out of the saddle, as you can see here. Duffy Jr., Pucker. This is your top three at this point. They're separated by about 6 seconds. Pucker with a last ditch to the line here. I'm going to take a look here now over to Pucker. Pucker might be able to make this. He's got 6 seconds, but Dave, Duffy Jr. is coming on like a freight train.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Duffy Jr., he looks like he is rolling right now, picking up more momentum as now he's going back to the whip. That's going to be Hayden Pucker in the red jersey here. Pucker trying to hold off an Esports legend. He's making his name right now. There he is.
Duffy Jr. right there. Overtaken over the top. Now he's going to do it. He gets the better of him. I thought perhaps Farm Watts had done it. Now here comes Neil Freyette as well, Dave. Can he hold on? But it's going to be Duffy Jr. Hayden tries to respond. He's unable to do it. Pucker not going to be able to take down Duffy Jr.
It's still an incredible ride from Hayden Pucker. I mean, this is going to go down as his memorable performance to date. You just can't beat the king as Brian Duffy Jr. goes 2 for 2 here in our 3-race Omnium. That is the king of Zwift here. 2 wins now. That's really, really impressive, Nathan. Brian Duffy Jr. is in fuego here today at our USA Cycling National Championships.
Yeah, he is. What a move there by Duffy Jr. So patient out there today. Talbot here is going to round out your top 5 for the second race of 3 in our Omnium. Now it is going to be Zimmer coming on through for 6th place. Zach Neer right behind him as well. For the looks like next presented by Insured, Cameron Cogburn here, still top 10s, Dave. This is plenty of points because we've got quite the battle here for the Omnium for that podium spot still.
Yeah, the lion's share of points really being distributed right now as they come up and over the top of this climb. That was Cameron Cogburn for Sarah's No Pins finishing. We're in with Scott now, our master national champion, and he's on a roll right now. Scott's going to finish up.
Another national champion, Yager. I mean, look at this. We've got lots of stars and stripes fighting for stars and stripes. I absolutely love it, Dave.
How about this ride from Eric Hill? The leader of the Project Echelon program is going to find, looks like a top 15 or even better than that, as we've now got Tom Corrigan rolling through here. Scotty the Squirrel to cheer him on.
Nicely done for Corrigan here. Meredith, the rider we were talking about earlier, coming out of the woodwork to jump in with us. Nice ride coming from him. Eric Hill now, it looks like. Good to see Eric. And he's always got this, Eric, he's got the suffer cam. He's got a really, that he likes to set up here for us. Eric Hill, as you can see here, nicely done from Eric, and all around when it comes to the organization so far.
Yeah.
We love the work that they've put in and the kind of connection to the cycling community that they have brought. Sagerbrook, though, a little bit of a kick, gets the better of him at the line. This is Reidenbach. Now Reidenbach, we saw him with some early attacks actually on Libby Hill. Brave man for Turbo here.
Yeah, and ultimately not a bad performance with an aggressive start. He's still going to hold on for right around the top 20. I did want to go back as we were just seeing Eric Hill and thank Eric for all that he's done. As the effort being made with Project Echelon goes way, way beyond a bike racing team, as Eric has really committed their resources to supporting veterans here in the United States. It really ties in nicely to what USA Cycling is all about. Their team is continuing to thrive. They've added some real talent for next year. As we see more riders finishing, it's always nice to see couples that are both racing. Nathan?
Yeah, it's going to be
it's not as rare as you think.
Megan Lester and Riley Wrightsman, actually. So nicely done here. Hopefully he doesn't strip completely down and knows he's on camera.
So he's now wrapping up his second of 3 races in the Omnium, where his partner will be getting ready. She looked like she was well warmed up now for a start coming up around 12 minutes from now. This is Cade Bickmore. Cade out of Colorado had a great season in 2023, winning some of the biggest criteriums on the podium at the national championship in Knoxville. So certainly one of the young Americans on the team that has a bright, bright future.
Let's go ahead and bring in a message actually for Project Echelon while we wait for a lot of our riders to finish up and get some of our results going actually. Eric, I believe he was traveling to a hockey tournament yesterday. I'm not sure if he was traveling home or if he's got more hockey tournaments with the kiddos today, but he did send this message actually via his phone actually, just as a shout out to everybody that's helped make this day exactly what it is.
Nathan, Dave, Zwift Community Live for putting together such a wonderful broadcast for viewers across the world to enjoy. We're so excited at Echelon Racing Promotions to be working in collaboration with USA Cycling and Zwift to put on what we believe is the largest Esports national championship event in history. We're super excited to write our own history today, and we're extremely grateful for all of our competitors in the elite and masters categories for helping to make this happen. We wish all of our competitors the best of luck today. Thank you for being here. We hope you enjoy the broadcast, and we hope you come back for more. Have a great day.
Echelon Racing League and USA Cycling in partnership with Zwift and Zwift Community Live. Love to hear it all, don't you, Dave?
I do, no doubt. I'm so impressed by Eric as well. So many good things happening under that man's leadership, and definitely helping us elevate our game as well. So big thank you to Eric and Frank. So this is 8K. We'll have a chance to see how the Omnium updates, but Nathan, I have to think that Brian Duffy Jr. is feeling really good about his chances now. This will go back-to-back with wins out here, and clearly, I would think Brian Duffy Jr. wishes that the World Championships would be coming up in about a week, I would think. You can't find better form than this against a quality field. Brian Duffy Jr., the king of Zwift, again, second win. Hayden Pucker, you don't always have to win a bike race to win a lot of fans. And Hayden, I think you did exactly that. Courageous racing there for Hayden Pucker to end up in second. Neil Frayette has turned himself into an esports star here over the last few months with a solid bronze medal in our Bologna time trial. Eric Levinson ending up in fourth. David Talbot still right there in fifth. Matt Zimmer for sixth. Zach Nair for seventh. Cameron Cogburn for eighth. Scott Catanzaro ends up in ninth. And then Jaden Yeager rounding out our top 10. But Nathan, the story goes deeper than that. With Jay Brune in 11th, Chris Uberti. So next with a couple riders there in 11th and 12th. Tom Corrigan in 13th. Fred Meredith, noteworthy rider today, in 14th. Spencer Segebrook in 15th. Eric Hill there for 16th. Nate Sovek in 17th. Michael Reidenbach ending up with 18th. 19th belongs to Riley Reitzman. Good to be in cam with him today. And top 20 was obtained by Paul Napier. Let's see what's going on a little bit deeper now with Alan Lowe in 21st, Brian Kellison 22nd, Wyatt Paul, good for 23rd. Nate Weekly, 24th in race 2, James Rainbow, 25th. This is Bryce Futsi in 26th. Dennis Scheniger in 27th, Ryan Sample 28th, Brad Greenberg for 29th, and Chris Fitzia rounding out our top 30 from event number 2. So the time trial now done and dusted. Again, that format to me, Nathan, is to die for. I absolutely love watching those in real time trials. Here's our Omnium points now. 400. Perfect score so far for Brian Duffy Jr. It's Neil Frayette moving up into second now with 370 points. Hayden Pucker, after that second place in the time trial, moves up into the third overall. Great job by Farm Watts there in third with 355, 340 for David Talbot sitting in fourth. Zach Nair in fifth now on points after 2 events with 335. He's got a 10-point advantage over Matt Zimmer. It's going to be Jay Brune in seventh there, I apologize. And he's got 321 points, 312 for Eric Levinson in eighth, ninth for Cameron Cogburn, and then 10th for Scott Catanzaro there. That's going to be on the Omnium points after our first 2 events.
It's going to be a close one there.
Richmond.
I mean, hanging out in the top 10. I mean, you can actually see the podium start to develop a little bit here. You still got some striking distance, don't you think, here, Dave? I mean, with Brune, Zimmer, they're right there on the edge for maybe they have a really good finish out in Neokio.
Yeah, so Nathan, when you start doing the math, right, Brian Duffy Jr. is going to be hard to beat, especially with the form that he's brought to the national championships. But, I mean, for Neil Frayette, he's only 30 points behind, meaning if he gets to 200 for the win and Brian Duffy Jr. falls outside of fourth place, all of a sudden, Brian Duffy Jr., even though he's won the first two events and has been dominant, he still can't afford to miss a step. If he falls outside of the top 5 in the final event, he might be in trouble.
Well, Tom Corrigan here sitting in now. These placings are a little bit off here, as you can see on the left hand side there, but that's going to be 11th place actually, as it's going to be the order of the current point structure actually in the Omnium for how they've scored for race 1 and race number 2. Spencer Segward with 280 there. Then it's going to be Jaden Yager. It's going to be Christy Birdie, Fred Meredith, Eric Hill, Nate Slovak. It's going to be Michael Regenbach and Wyatt Paul and Alan Lowe. That's the current situation. Riders now cooling down, waiting for their next race. They're not going to race for another a little bit under 40 minutes there. So, Dave, but the ladies, they're about to take on the same exact course in just a moment. About 5 minutes or so to the start of the ladies' race for this Polonia time trial.
It's a good question, Nathan. As far as what do you do? That amount of time, 40 minutes, is an awkward gap, isn't it? Do you get off of the bike? Do you take a little bit of time?
You know, for me, I like that you're bringing that up, actually. For me, Dave, personally, I would totally take a little bit of a break, get some water. I might even eat like a little bit more something of substance. Not a lot, but like a bar, not a gel necessarily, because that sugar, if you put too much just like straight sugar in and you don't keep on pedaling, that starts to create reactions in the blood actually that you don't want. That actually, that start reserving sugars and going into like this full on recovery mode. You can put a lot in, but you're going to want a little bit of maybe like just a little bit of protein with some carbohydrates, nothing heavy. I wouldn't be eating any kind of like meat or anything like that, but I definitely would be, grabbing a power bar or something.
Yeah, the athletes that have the most experience with a scenario like this would be our track cyclists, right? You go to the velodrome and you spend the entire day there. You race in the morning session, you race in the afternoon session, but you really have to figure out how to stay off your legs and keep your mind engaged, but not get too deep into it. So there's a lot that goes into this. So looking forward now, Nathan, to our women's event. After what we just saw with Kristen Kolchinski taking the win in Richmond, she's going to be pretty tough to beat here, as Kristen is also a racer who's got an incredible depth of work. Even though she's not a former professional triathlete or marathon runner, she might have cycled more kilometers on Zwift than any other racer that we've got in esports.
Well, Kolchinski definitely showing up today, hasn't she, Dave? And has shown us that, I was wondering, whether or not she was going to be good to go today. And she answered that question loud and clear up and over the top of Governor Street. What a move by her. Great to see. And Dave, I was, I know she's put a lot of pressure on this. And, with the performances, I think, some of them, she's had amazing performances, but I think she's wanted to take it to a next level that we all know that she has. And it just, the stars haven't always aligned. Today, it looks like it might be her day.
I completely agree with you. And that's really, the universe can be really tough on people when you show the world what your dreams are. It makes it sometimes even harder to accomplish them. And if you've been following along the Kristen Kolchinski story, it's really hard to not be pulling for her today. I want to flip, though, to the other side of that, Nathan, as they say that bike racing can be a cruel mistress, right? Well, Elise Gallegos had been doing incredible work up to this point. She was attacking the race with old school fury when she had a power dropout, which is absolutely heartbreaking. And it goes to show you, athletes, you're going to have your bright moments, you're going to have the dark moments, and coming through. And I think that's going to be Elise. I'm so
glad she's here. I'm so glad that.
Me too.
Man, I mean,
she's going to go ballistic. Yeah, and she's going to be really hard to beat in this time trial now. with what the adrenaline spike that she should have. Motivation is really interesting in how it hits different athletes. But I have a feeling Elise Gallegos has nothing to prove to the esports world. I think she wants to prove something to herself right now.
Yeah, 2 minutes to go to the start of this race as we jump down into the pens. A little bit. And Jen, you're on mute.
I don't know.
Just so you know, Jen. Well, they're communicating with each other, probably in some sort of a Discord or maybe perhaps over on the Zoom call, perhaps. But we got a minute 44 to go here for these ladies. Again, it is a time trial. We're on the Bologna course. They will be taking on what you just saw the men take on. And Dave, it's not going to be calm from the get-go, I would think. I mean, here's the thing. Because they can see the person that they need to race, they could race that way, though, couldn't they?
Absolutely. It's really fascinating when you look at, I guess, if you've been following along, you would realize that this is a time trial. The drafting has been turned off. So even though it looks like they'd be in the slipstream, they're not. So really what becomes key is the pacing off of other riders. And you make a great point, Nathan. So Elise Gallegos, I have a feeling there's some extra motivation here. Kristen Kolchinski comes in on paper as the favorite, especially after what we just saw. Liz Van Houweling in this field, and never count out Jackie Godby. Quite a group that we've got here ready to take the start, including one of the greatest ultra-distance cyclists America has ever seen, Christy Tracy, taking the start here.
Christy Tracy jumping in with us. Be interesting to see how she goes. Good to see her jumping in and competing. Always one of the coolest Zwifters to have with us. 25 seconds to go. Riders starting to ramp up a little bit. They've kept themselves plenty warm, it looks like here. Back in with Elise. It's going to be interesting to see. I want to see how hard she goes. I was, counting her for one of the favorites. But Kristen, I think also, though, a big one for this one, Dave. She is always so strong when it comes to TTs. She loves them.
Yeah,
she really does.
I mean, this is right up her alley when you look at it, is Gallegos ramping things up. She's got her Zwiftcraft figured out really quickly here as we are underway, sending the women out on course. This is race number 2 of our 3-race U.S. National Cycling Championship, USA Cycling National Championship, as it looks like Stephanie Sidlick is going to lead them out onto course. Another rider with tremendous experience. Stephanie, if you go all the way back to the early days, back during the first days of COVID, was our champion at Tour de Gila.
Oh, that's right. Good call, Dave. As good to see Stephanie here as she leads things out. Now, Dave, we saw this from Farm Watts early on with Pucker. We have a similar situation perhaps here, but Stephanie, I think she's just interested in her own pace, isn't she?
Yeah, and it's going to be a rapid pace, it looks like, as she's going to go out hard. Now, she's one of the riders, Nathan, I'm a little bit surprised to see this. She's one of the better climbers in our field. I thought maybe she'd hold her cards to play them a little bit later, but that group right behind her with Christy Tracy, the Riot rider, going to lead them up. You really have to get used to the fact that there's no draft here. As you would think, wow, Kolchinski doing a great job of taking advantage of Tracy setting the pace, but that's not the case here, as everybody's in their own world of hurt on this 8-kilometer course.
I love the way that she's riding this. I really do like the way that she's riding this here. Tracy now, though, steady as well. Good to see Christy Tracy really taking the bull by the horns here. This is a rider that, on this section of course, I have a feeling that she's definitely going to shine a little bit amongst the riders out here today, because she is very strong in this type of a event. Christy Tracy on these flatter sections, she's just got these raw watts that she can work with.
Yeah, I mean, if you looking at Christy Tracy in cam right now, she's done a lot of
Look
work
at the kid.
over the last few years.
Endorphin junkie. Nice headband, by the way. There, Christy. I absolutely love it.
Boy, and really look at the focus here too, Nathan. Christy Tracy's, we've really been following her story over the last 4 or 5 years. She actually was in the Zwift Academy back in 2018. And has been very, very active on Zwift, as well as really turning herself into one of America's premier ultra endurance time trialists. If you can find an event over 100 miles, that's really her bread and butter. So this is a little short for Christy Tracy.
Yeah. And definitely now going to be overtaken, though, by none other than our current Omnium leader. That is going to be Kristen Kolchinski, now trying to chase down Stephanie Sidlick. Dave, is this going to be a situation where a lot of the other riders just start watching Kolchinski ride away with this one? I don't know. Van Halen and Gallegos, though, Dave, I have a feeling that, as you said, at least she's going to be really wanting to come back after what happened in that last race.
The other thing, yes, Nathan, no doubt, Elise Gallegos is a world-class triathlete. She's going to have a better pacing plan, in my mind, than any other racer here. She really understands how you do this, which is pace yourself through an 8-kilometer time trial that has basically about 2 kilometers of brutal climbing at the end. If you hit the bottom of that climb gassed, God be with you. Good luck. Riders like Kristen Kolchinski, Stephanie Sidlick, they're really experienced. They know exactly what they're doing right now. And I have a feeling that Gallegos is very, very happy with the situation. This is going to turn into one of the great showdowns, Nathan. I'm predicting that about 5 minutes from now, we're going to sell you the whole seat, but you're only going to use the edge with a race this exciting.
Yeah, taking a look here. There's going to be Sidlick and Kolchinski with a 3-second gap over the top of Christy Tracy. Liz Van Houweling pacing pretty well. It looks like 4.5 watts per kilogram coming from her. Roach there right along with her. It's going to start seeing how these gaps are starting to form between the riders. Again, there is no draft on at all, but they can pace themselves off of the other riders. Roach now right along with Van Houweling. As you can see, Liz Van Houweling now 163 beats per minute. I'm wondering for Van Houweling here as how she is currently looking, because Dave, she was cool as a cucumber before. We got that same kind of a look. There it is, Dave. Still, same look coming here from Liz.
Yeah, I mean, she looks like she's dancing on the pedals as well. So not only is she mentally clear, but Liz Van Houweling looks like she's in a good place mentally. Let's see what she can pull off out here today. Liz has historically been one of the 3 best Americans in the sport, and she's still in that conversation, absolutely. So, again, you never really know where these athletes are at form-wise, but Liz Van Houweling has the potential to be an esports world champion. No doubt. You just need all the stars to line up, but that holds true for all of these athletes. Kristen Kolchinski, probably, Nathan, I think in most people's minds comes in as the favorite, but I think that's also because a lot of folks haven't had experience watching Elise Gallegos race all that much. Gallegos is pacing herself very, very well when you look at what she's planning, in my mind, for the back half of this course.
Point.
Where this
7
race
seconds is nothing, Dave. It's nothing when it comes to the back end of this at all.
And especially imagine, when you come into that critical moment, even though you're 7 seconds behind, you've got a full tank. Everybody else is operating on fumes.
Yeah, I mean, at 4.5 watts per kilogram, she's keeping it, not under, just a little bit, maybe under threshold. The heart rate is high, 171 beats per minute, but I think she's got plenty to work with here. Kolchinski's gained 8 seconds now at this point, up into that 176, following Sidlick. So this is going to be an interesting situation. Dave, I want to remind everybody where things stand for the minor placings here. Liz Van Houweling, she is in second place overall right now. Sidlick there with 180, who's currently leading us. Nyquist, Dave, but she's 20. This is where Nyquist may struggle with the raw power. She's a Zwifter, Dave. She's got the Zwift craft, but man, when it comes down to this kind of a raw power situation and racing yesterday, winning Masters Nationals at 40 to 44, maybe Nyquist going to slip down the leaderboard a little bit.
Liz Van Houweling, Nathan, has to be happy with where she's sitting right now, as she's still really in contention. Although Kolchinski, spotting her 5 seconds at this point, that's not a good plan in my mind, to tell you the truth. Kristen Kolchinski is not going to fade on the climb. So I wouldn't give her any more time than she's got right now.
Yeah, it's a good, but here's the thing. You got to race your race, right? And there's just a reality. It's going to be tough, but at the same time, when you've got a national championship, sometimes you got to take certain kinds of risks, or it's just said and done. But perhaps Van Houweling here is, look, I've got to do what I got to do to get the best result I possibly can. Currently sitting in second, Dave, and if she has an amazing result in Yokio, maybe bumps up a couple, because 190, that can win a day if Kolchinski doesn't come with all the beans on the last race.
Yeah, and it's interesting because when you look at what happened with Elise Gallegos in race number 1, she now becomes a spoiler here. She's not going to be able to win the national championship. There's just not enough points left after she takes a really unfortunate power dropout. So, but what she could do is if she gets up there and starts taking away points at the top of the table, she might be more helpful for Liz Van Houweling. That's a bit of a stretch in some ways, but when you look at it now, Elise Gallegos is really a wild card out here.
Yeah, completely, Dave. It definitely changes up the entire stratosphere about what the air feels like, right? With the way that she is going to be able to ride, because everybody's going to be having this wild card that definitely changes things up. Now, again, Bologna time trial, 1 lap, 8K, 236 meters of climbing out here today. Sidlik and Kolczynski are about 10 to 9 seconds up from the rider we're looking at on screen here, which is Elise Gallegos. But Dave, they're all within sight of each other still for these top spots.
How about Stephanie Sidlik today? She can climb. She's on the front of this bike race. This would be, I don't want to say stunning, but it would be an upset if Stephanie Sidlik can pull off this win when you look at the quality of the field with riders like Kristen Kolczynski. But Kolczynski is here to do one thing, and that's win.
Here we go, Dave. Kolczynski, 5.3 watts per kilogram. And I think this is a familiar situation we've seen many times where she just starts to slowly ramp it up and she gets into this mode, Dave, where she just starts to really grind at the gears and have that motivation, Dave. And look, there she is up and settle for a moment, but now sits back down, going to settle in here, Dave. Now, here's the thing. I mean, oh, man, it's a long day, right, Dave? There's a lot of racing here, and, you know, Sidlik and the rest has Kolczynski. I mean, Kolczynski won by 10 seconds. She needed to win by 1. You know, the question might start coming into energy, and does she have it all the way to the finish line here when it comes to all 3 races? That would be the only question in the back of my mind about her winning out here today.
That's interesting, Nathan. You talk about that. So, yeah, if Kolczynski is in a dominant position, she would want to back off in the last bit of this race. Is really for her, the biggest concern has got to be Liz Van Houweling, who's sitting third wheel. Liz is 10 points behind. So that's really her focus as far as this second race of 3 goes. But Kolczynski looks like she's doing what...
No. Oh, man. Now, Stephanie Sidlik here. Something happening here with Stephanie. And I'm wondering, Dave, perhaps, she does get it going again. She does get it going again. There's frustration, obviously, on the face there of Sidlik. She does get moving again. So good to see that she is able to re-engage. We'll see if she can bring back some time. Now, Kolczynski was going away from her. At this point, you know, there is the mental note in her that, look, I can still get the place back that I had when that happened.
And that's going to be Sidlik going by Melissa Aitken. So that back and forth is happening after that dropout. She's able to recover. Kolczynski's still on the front. Van Houweling, though, here comes Elise Gallegos. So Gallegos moving up into second wheel. So if you're Kolczynski, Nathan, and it's going to be almost impossible to get this message through to her, but Elise Gallegos is not your problem. But Kolczynski races to win. There's no doubt about that in my mind. So, but again, they could let Gallegos go. And if your goal here is winning the national championship, I think that it might be 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. To tell you the truth, is Kolczynski's just going to race the way she races. That's Gallegos that we're in with now, up and out of the saddle, throwing some more watts at the problem, as Gallegos is going to lock horns with Kolczynski. Van Houweling now still right there. So this is going to be really interesting, Nathan.
It is, as Gallegos now kicking here. It looks like probably putting some frustration into the pedals now at this point, looking to try and get a good result on this second race here. Kolczynski now off the front. She's already got that 8 seconds. Now, we did see in the men's race, Hayden Pucker with an early, he had 21 seconds at this point and was caught at the line by Brian Duffy Jr. Really, Dave, it's interesting. It gets so steep in the back half, Dave, and if you come with some speed up and over the top of that 11%, 15, 12, it gets way up in the gradients. And if you can carry, it's exponential, the speed gains you get if you've got more power through those sections.
Gallegos starting to ride away from Sidlik now. Kolczynski still holding on to 8 seconds. It's Interesting to watch now is right behind. That's Van Houweling, who is the real danger woman now for Kolchinski, sitting back in fourth wheel. So actually, Kolchinski's going to be happy to see Gallegos taking that spot in front of Van Houweling. That's exactly what I was talking about, how Gallegos, Nathan, becomes the spoiler. She takes points off the table that Van Houweling would be getting that would put her closer to Kolchinski. So Kolchinski's got to be pretty happy right now.
Yeah, she does. Now you can see here 173 beats per minute currently, 292 watts, 16.6 kilometers per hour is the traveling speed.
Yeah, just to be clear, Kolchinski, what she really needs is Gallegos to finish between her and Van Houweling. That's the ideal situation for Kolchinski here.
100%. And, that's a good call there, Dave, to keep in mind the games that are going to be played out on course. There is a little bit of chess now that's able to be played, isn't there, in an Omnium like this?
Yeah, and that's what Omniums are all about. It's stunning to me how I think of events like Tulsa Tough, Nathan, where you can kind of watch the racing casually and have no idea that rider picking up seconds and thirds is the one that's going to win this Omnium. You always look to the top of the podium. Well, Omniums are really, really different. Kristen Kolchinski's already got one win. She's looking to make it two, doing exactly what Brian Duffy Jr. has done so far, which is going back to back. It's 3 races total. The final race is heading to Neokyo for a criterium. That's Stephanie Sidlick that we're in, just grinding out the watts right now. Nathan, as time has gone on, see more and more riders using what I'd call the Kolchinski technique, which is a slow grind, massive watts, but not high revolutions.
Yeah, and it's a lot of power being produced there with that method here, as you can see. Nice one. It looks like as Gallegos now. Here we go. Nice little punch here from Gallegos. Now she's going to catch Kolchinski. Actually, now as you said, Dave, she is that wild card, isn't she? Now, it doesn't matter for the overall, but Van Houweling, she's going to be happy about this because if Van Houweling's within striking distance, within a placing, that keeps her in contention.
Van Houweling's loving this, actually. If Gallegos beats Kolchinski, it really gives Van Houweling a much better chance in the criterium to take the national championship. This one is far from over, as Elise Gallegos now doing what she came here for, crushing souls, destroying dreams. Elise Gallegos on the front now. Kolchinski, our overall leader, sitting in second. Van Houweling third. It's starting to look like the national championship is going to come down to a Kolchinski-Van Houweling battle, but let's give props where they're deserved, as Elise Gallegos, after a heartbreaking race number 1, is clearly channeling all of that energy and turning them directly into megawatts.
Gallegos now taking that frustration out from that, and she's still going to put her stamp on this, isn't she, Dave? Good for her. Good for her not holding back, not wanting to say, okay, enough is enough. I had something happen in my first race. No, she is still here to put on a show. Great job by Elise. And the day isn't over yet. She can still take plenty of points and get a solid result out here for this national championship. Great job for Gallegos.
I'm going to call that the ride of the day here because of spirit. A lot of folks in other sports would have said, if I can't win, it's over. I'll just throw in the towel. Not Elise Gallegos. That's the champion standard that we're looking at right now as she rides away with this time trial. But I have to say that she's going to win a lot of fans with the attitude that she's showing out here. This is what esports is all about. Up and out of the saddle. She gives it a little bit more. She's a woman on a mission out here right now. This is the champion standard here on event 2. It's not a stage race, it's an Omnium. So the second event, it looks like it's all Gallegos right now. Question becomes, can Kolchinski hold off Van Houweling? And it's looking like the answer is yes.
Man, this is insane, Dave, the way that this is playing out here for us right now. I mean, Kolchinski and Van Houweling, they are deadlocked right now. I mean, that's really the story now at this point, isn't it, Dave? Between those two,
it's going to be,
when it comes down to the overall.
It's going to be 20 points if it finishes the way I think it will that separate them, meaning that if Van Houweling can win the crit and Kolchinski finishes further down than third, we've got ourselves a very interesting discussion about who will be our
we've
USA
got a
cycling.
serious race now. I mean, this is a big one, and this is what we were talking about, Dave. It really changes things up a whole lot, doesn't it, Dave, when it comes to this Omnium, the way that they've structured it. Elise Gallegos, she's going to take it down here for first place in this TT. Then it's going to be Kolchinski here crossing line, doing what she needed to take that second place now out here and grabbing some more points for her overall. She's still going to be our leader, but Van Houweling, big ride from her. This is really going to solidify her still to be in the running.
I think Kolchinski should be really happy with that performance there. She's immediately going to start communicating with her coach, Josh Lipka. That's going to be Van Houweling, who's kept herself in the conversation. Liz Van Houweling is getting better and better out here.
Ooh,
Stephanie
that dropout from Sidlick. That dropout, Dave, from Sidlick, I think, that was difference. Close enough. Really, yeah, she could have been there for third, I think.
So, I tell you what, it's like these little things there. I mean, if Sidlick doesn't have that dropout and she finishes ahead of Van Houweling, how much does that help Kolchinski, right? So the rider who caught the brakes in race 2 was definitely Liz Van Houweling.
Definitely. Now Aitken here coming to the line.
Well, Melissa Aitken's going to be a rider that we're going to hear a lot more of. Jen Reel, we've heard a lot from throughout the years. She's awesome. Jen Reel out of Texas is going to be our next rider across the line. It's actually 3 Texans in a row here. Reel, Tracy, and Roach should be our next 3 across the line.
Great
Viva
to see,
Texas.
Actually. Yeah, I'm loving it. Well, look at Roach.
Yeah.
What a kick here from Roach. Loving this.
She's
nice
a monster.
job. She really is. She's got such a heart on her, and you can see it in the way that she even rides here, Dave. I mean, look at this. Sarah Roach all the way to the line for synergy, up and out of the saddle. Great job. Just coming on by here. Christy Tracy here, right on her heels.
Sarah Roach, also a mom of 2, an incredible human being finishing up. Here comes Christy Tracy, done and dusted by one of America's favorite time trialists. Here's Em Nyquist finishing up now for the Riot team. She's going to be just in front of Godby. This is a strong, strong field that we assembled here for our USA Cycling National Championships. And, you know, you're going to hear more from one of the great esports racers of all time, Jackie Godby.
Oh, 100%. I know coming back for sure. It's been a build back for her. But, you know, I would, give her a couple of months here, Dave. Zwift Games are on the horizon. ZGP, there's plenty more racing to come here, Dave, throughout the year, or throughout the season. And I got to say, Jackie, if you're watching back, if you're hearing this, we're so glad to see you back here in racing. Yeah. We absolutely love to have you.
She's a real class act, Nathan, and definitely one of the cornerstones of our community. So, Jackie, we're behind you for sure. This is Meg Lester, who Meg gets my Courage Award, Nathan. This young woman showed up in a stacked field and has more than held her own out here today. Meg Lester and Paige Onrow will be our next 2 finishers. It's not going to take too long as they make their way past the arcade here.
Yeah, nicely done. We'll get our results up here in just a second, both for our event that just finished up here as well as the Omnium. Great job to all of our riders so far and what they have done. Let's see if we got results, though. Yes, we do. And, what a bounce back here. Oh, man, Dave, what could have been's maybe going through the mind just a little bit here. But Gallegos, she shows up and makes it happen on this second race at least.
Take a look at that 6.8 watts per kilogram for our 4th place finisher, Stephanie Sidlick, as well. Noteworthy. One of the things I love about Zwift is how much information we have, and you can see that Elise Gallegos, her information was, I'm world class, and you definitely are, Elise. That's a big win there in race 2. Kristen Kolchinski, though, holding on in our Omnium competition here. Kristen has been racing sick and very, very impressive in what she's doing today. So KK for second. Liz Van Houweling is going to push her all the way to the finish line. As Nathan well knows, this national championship won't be decided until we put paid for race 3. Stephanie Sidlick, another heartbreaker, but clearly the form is impressive, Stephanie. Good job for 4th today. Melissa Aitken making her mark, finding the top 5 as one of our rookies of the year. Jen Reel in at 6th place. Sarah Roach for 7th. Christy Tracy 8th. Em Nyquist in at 9th. And Jackie Godby rounding out our top 10. That really is a who's who of esports racing here in America. So event 2 wrapping up for the women, meaning we'll turn the page to the final 2 chapters here as we've be heading to Nyokyo as the perfect counterbalance to the peaceful Zen-like Makuri Islands is the frenetic Nyokyo and 23.4 kilometers of racing. As we take a look at our Omnium now. So Kristen with a win in a second, sitting on 390 points, a 20-point advantage over Liz Van Houweling at 370. That's only 15 points ahead of third right now, Stephanie Sidlick. It's Elise Gallegos. Look at that, moving up into fourth after that last win is Elise Gallegos. Jen Reel in at fifth now. Melissa Aitken for sixth. Sarah Roach seventh. Emily Nyquist eighth. Christy Tracy ninth. And Jackie Godby rounds out our top 10 after 2 events here in our Omnium. So they've got the criterium to look forward to. They'll get a decent break here, around 35 minutes until they're racing again. But the guys, they're on the clock coming up here. In just over 5 minutes, we'll have racing underway. Nathan, this has been incredible.
Absolutely. This is some of the best racing that we have ever seen out on Zwift. You know, I've really, really enjoyed this format, Dave. You know, speak to that a little bit. This is, I mean, it is a little bit different, though. I feel like it takes kind of a little bit what was happening with Worlds, but we remove the points within the race, but create that omnium structure. And I think we bring in the right mixture of that in real life stuff that you were talking about, and match it. Just a moment ago, talking about omniums in real life, and match it to some of this esports world. It's found a really good rhythm here. It feels like.
Yeah, really, Nathan, I agree. When you look at what makes a great bike race, well, it's an outcome that isn't predetermined. You don't know who's going to win. And when we came into both our men's and women's races, there were at least 5 riders that you could make a really good case for. And it's actually more than 5, which is an ideal situation. That balance of competition, that's where it all starts. If you have one dominant rider, it's not as exciting as when there's a lot of riders in the mix. It makes the tactics much more entertaining. And to the credit of yourself, doing an amazing job with our coverage here. If people knew, Nathan has been up for basically 48 hours straight working on all of these packages to create a better experience. And Nathan, we really, really appreciate that. The racers really have a better experience. And when you look at what's happening now, we don't know what the outcome is going to be in any of these races, but we've seen command performances, rides that are memorable. We've had riders out here. We had an 80-year-old rider competing yesterday. That's Dominic Rosetto that's out competing against riders like Kristen Kolchinsky, who was basically bedridden just a couple of days ago. This means so much to her that you can see that she's going through something a little bit extra for this national championship. And Nathan, national championships should be about something a little bit extra.
They definitely should be. And, you know, it's so good to see. I was a little bit concerned actually a couple of days ago, knowing that perhaps she wasn't going to be able to even show up. I know that she spent, you know, I've actually had whatever has been going on this week, and I couldn't believe, you know, I don't know when she got it, because I was like, am I going to make the national championship? I don't know. If you go back and listen to the wrap this past week, podcast we have on Zwift Community Live, you can hear it in my voice. I'm not, it's definitely a little bit of congestion. We're much better today. I'm glad it's chilled out, but I was thinking about having to race. I went for a walk this week. That's about it. So, I mean, good on anybody, and especially Kristen. And obviously she's been really focused on this, and you're going to show up. And I have a feeling, Dave, she's going to really try and pull this one off. But Liz Van Houweling right on the heels still here, Dave. She's not out of it, and that's keeping things interesting. Now in the men's race, though, we got a little bit of a different situation here. Duffy has been very, very dominant. What's the situation, though, across the men's right now for the Omnium? Is it very close is going to be the question.
Well, and the other thing I would add is, if you're going to say which of the 3 events would be the best for Brian Duffy Jr., I probably would have said the third.
This one,
to tell you the truth.
That's true. That's true, isn't it, Dave? It really is.
So in this case, all hail the king. I think that Brian Duffy Jr. is a worthy winner. It's not over yet. Neil Freyette, Nathan, if you run the numbers, basically, if Neil can win, he needs Brian Duffy Jr. to have an off day, meaning finishing outside of, for all intents and purposes, the top 5. That's possible. It can happen to the best of us. Even Eddie Merckx didn't win every race that he started. But Brian Duffy Jr. on an absolute roll. Thank you for bringing this up. As you can see, it's a 30-point advantage that he's got over Neil Freyette. We're going to hear a lot more from Neil Freyette. He's rapidly becoming one of my favorite racers there out of Ballard, the Seattle area. Hayden Pucker, Nathan, this might be the most impressive performance of all, what we saw from Hayden Pucker today. Talk about a rider coming out of the woodwork here in the last couple of months. Hayden Pucker, I had never heard of.
Seriously, if he holds on, Dave, if he holds on, you said he had the Jedi. You said it the other day that the Jedi skills in Zwift are strong with with him in this. I mean, Dave, he is kind of coming up out of nowhere here. Can he do it? I mean, he's just jumping into esports with ERL. That's one of the first time I've seen him really anywhere involved. Talbot's got to be like, oh, let's go here. And this is not Talbot's strength. You know, Jay Bruin is the one that can really make a jump, I think, here. And Cotton Nazaro, there's a couple here down the line, Dave, with a crit situation for a sprint. You know, we're looking at, I believe it's going to be 6 laps out here, Dave. It's going to be interesting on Neokyo crit course. A little bit longer, though. You could see some breaks.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, Nathan. I don't think this plays out like a traditional criterium. I think you're going to see a select group with a lot of the names on your screen right now going clear. We're going to separate the wheat from the chaff out here. Remember how these guys have been racing today incredibly aggressively. Look at the first 3K in Richmond. I think you're going to see something similar to that in Neokyo.
Yeah, that's a good call. We'll see. Through his first 3K
ballistic.
Richmond, absolutely ballistic, most likely is what we're going to see. We're off with the helicopter shot. Is we've got all of our riders hanging out in the pens, Dave. Race number 3 about to get going here. We're about to crown a national champion for our elite men. I'm so excited to see how this plays out. And Dave, because of the way that this has played out so far, I think that things are going to go absolutely bonkers from the get-go. No, seriously, I think anybody who's like, I need to win this, they're going to be like, whatever, just throw the caution to the wind because I want to win a jersey out here today.
I'm with you, Nathan. You know, this is history being made, folks. Our 3-race Omnium USA Cycling's National Championship has never been held in this format. Have to give credit to Eric Hill and his team at Project Echelon. Absolutely amazing. The dedication they have to bike racing and to veterans. So educate, equip, and empower. That's exactly what they've been doing. And Nathan, I think we can all feel really proud of this national championship as we are firing on all cylinders. And let's launch this group into orbit. Andiamo, guys. Go get them. Fittingly, Jaden Yeager is going to take them out on course, a multi-time USA Cycling national champion in multiple disciplines. So here we go. Nathan, welcome to Neokyo.
Out on
where
Neokyo.
Dreams come to die. Yeah.
6 laps. Here we go. 24K, 125 meters of climbing, actually, though, Dave. There's a little bit of a punch in this one, isn't there? It is.
Yeah, this is one of the more challenging crit courses in real life or virtual that you're going to find. And there's the first attack.
Whoa. Like we said, Dave, right from the get-go, and it's going to be Corrigan making some. Here's the thing. It's an Omnium. There's teams out here. Stealing points is going to be the name of the game, isn't it?
110%. And it looks like, again, we're going to see a few moments here where the teams really start to try to press an advantage. That's going to be Hayden Pucker. So it's Restart that's going to play their cards first, but look at how they're lining up behind him with Next and Short. Nathan, it is nothing but heavy hitters up here on the front. It is strung out single file already. Oh boy.
Yeah, this is insane already from the get-go here, Dave. Stringing things out, as you said. What is going to happen from here on forward now? Farm Watts. Now Zalvesen here, taking over the top at the front of this, though, and this is good to see. We are seeing next control, and that's what they're going to do, Dave, aren't they? Control, 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 reserve for Duffy. Duffy's not going to be sticking his nose in the wind. He is going to do everything he can to be supported by next, and look at the green all over the front end of this. I mean, that's the name of the game here is shut it down, shut it down, shut it down. You know what the crit racing's all about, Dave. You're real familiar with this story.
Yeah, no, you nailed it, Nathan. So here's the flip side to what you're saying is disrupt, disrupt, disrupt. If you are going to try to come away with a special result, you can't let next herd you around this course. And that's how you do it. That's David Talbot trying to disrupt. But here's the problem. Next is this good. Cover and kill like the U.S. military. They do not play around here on the front. And that's going to be, again, you're going to see a lot of these green next jerseys being very aware with restart up here as well. But the green sleeve, the right sleeve being green, might be the easiest way to get a quick read on whether that's the next team or not.
Yeah, it is pretty close, actually. Once in a while, we do get a little bit of is that restart? Is that next? But here we go.
I've done it.
Here. Look at this. Absquate Finesse presented by Wolf. Good to see them out here racing with us. And in the white and blue there on the right-hand side of your screen. Always good to see them. Haven't seen them too much up until this point, but getting a little bit of involvement at the front end of the race now as things have calmed right on down. The initial kick has happened, Dave, and now everybody says, okay, Grupo Compacto.
Cade Bickmore, a guy who really knows his way around an American Criterium in this race. We haven't heard too much from Cade. Cade getting into Zwifting. He's been on Project Echelon's Continental UCI team for the last couple of seasons, but it's good to see Cade finding his way up to the front. That's going to be Fred Meredith and Eric Levinson now riding on the front. Eric Levinson has been very strong out here today. I've a feeling, Nathan, that he's been racing with David Talbot in the back of his mind, trying to help support his teammate.
Yeah, it's a good call there, I think, actually. I didn't get an update. I want to appreciate Zwift just sent me a little bit of an update on the our buddy Johnny at Zwift just sent us an update on the collegiate results, actually. And there is a collegiate competition going on. We did not have the.
They're racing in New York.
They are racing in this race. So they're just ranked. So the highest ranked collegiate rider will win that national title amongst the elites. Just keeping it simple. It's like the best young rider competition, essentially.
Sure.
So Fred Meredith actually followed up by Bryce Futse and Riley Reitzman is what I'm being told for the current standings. And make sure that we've got that absolutely correct. I don't want to be misquoting on that.
So
but I believe that's where it's standing.
Great. Well, Fred Meredith, the Welsh flag there must be going to college or university in the United States right now. We don't need to get into the weeds with it, but it's no issue that he has a Welsh flag. Absolutely, he could qualify to be in here.
Dave Talbot this is going to be David making moves. He's been super aggressive. This is kind of his forte. Love to see it here, Dave. It's going to be a tough one, but you do it enough times in a race like this, Dave. If you are a very good, punchy endurance athlete, you might be able to make the separation. But Uberti covers it next, does their thing.
All right. Well, what's interesting here on the front is how shattered this is. Just riders attacking, coming back into the fold. It's next again here, making a big move. Now, when you look at this next team, this is going to be Chris Uberti off the front, the aerodynamic engineer who has been a big part of this program. Nathan, that is a peloton in trouble, to tell you the truth. As you can see, multiple gaps opening up.
I love to see it, Dave, and the pressure is on now, coming in from next now as you got Uberti making moves, and we'll get the camera in there. I just wanted to try. There it is. That's what I was looking for. Look at the separation that's starting to take place at the back of this pack as they round out almost 5K so far. Chris Uberti making that move, making the separation happen. Heart rate only at 161 now at this point, but trying to whittle down the field just a little bit, or at least cover those moves being made. Again, though, Dave, this is the Cyrus No Pins crew now really trying as best they can, Dave, to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed, Nathan. They've got the 20-pound sledgehammer out and are wailing away. If they don't pull something off, it certainly wasn't for a lack of trying. Scott is going to be covering Cameron here. Cameron Cogburn and Scott Catanzaro. These are two riders, Nathan. I don't think that the peloton is going to be, they're neutralizing each other more or less right now. I think back in that peloton, the heavy hitters are right now for the first time able to take a deep breath, as this will send two of the bigger teams. Really, if Restart was here, it would take up the three big teams. These two teams represented again in the pink and white. That's Cyrus No Pins. The green jersey there is going to be the next insured team. But Nathan, I think this is a moment in the race where we can actually take a deep breath.
Yeah, and what's interesting here, Dave, I think, is that maybe Cogburn's not placed high enough that next is that concerned. They're just covering it, but they're not like, okay, they're not that concerned as to whether or not that rider is necessarily going to take too many points away from Duffy now at this point. Now a little bit of a jump here coming though from Kellison, interesting enough, and over the top it's going to be Zalveson.
Well, it's getting spicy back there yet. But Nathan, you make a really good point. If this were a chessboard, those two are not the kings and queens or knights or bishops of this game. And they're back here in this group. And as a matter of fact, you can see them starting to move forward now as it looks like they're going to reset the front of this bike race. They're not going to play around with that group off of the front for too much longer as they start to elevate the pace. It's amazing to see riders getting dropped out of this peloton. It's very rare at this level. This is the front of the bike race that we're going back to join now. And Cameron Cogburn has taken the entirety of this pull. So Scott just covering this move right now, which, Nathan, when you have someone sitting on like that, it feels like an anchor behind you, and eventually it'll crack you mentally.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it, Dave? I mean, there is a reality here at this point.
Here comes Talbot.
Talbot jumping across now, nicely done by him. And this is what Cyrus are trying to do. They're really trying to get now. Who is all this work for? That's going to be the big question, Talbot. Isn't it, Dave? It's all about Talbot, isn't it?
Yep. Absolutely. And I think they were trying to set up a way station for him up the road that Talbot now is. This is an interesting move because we've got a long way to go. We're about a quarter of the way into this race. So Talbot's going to go long. It looks like. I love the courage here, Nathan. And that was enough that it got the response from the peloton. They could not play around with David Talbot. I believe he's sitting fourth on points in the Omnium. Fourth or fifth?
Fifth place at 340.
Right.
Pucker. No, excuse me. You're right. You're fourth. You're right. Fourth. My bad. Fourth. Zach Neer right
Pucker
behind
third.
him in fifth, and Pucker in third. Neil Freyette is the only one we haven't seen a whole lot at this point. Where is Freyette? Because he's second overall right now.
You know where he is, Nathan? Where the smart people are. Waiting, because you're not going to win the race right now. But if you can conserve something, maybe he'll be special in the end of this race, because right now it's a fool's errand, I think. There's so much horsepower in this group. What I would do if at this point in the race, 7.2K in, is if I'm in the same group as Brian Duffy Jr., I'm in the right place.
Yeah, good call on that. Now, Dave, real quickly, just a reminder for everybody as to where now the reason why Cyrus No Pins are doing what they're doing. They currently got Eric Levinson there sitting in 8th place, 9th place with Cameron Cogburn, and you do see there sitting in 4th with David Talbot. That's why they keep sending all these, because they can grab somebody onto that podium out of all of them, depending on how things end up at the end of the day here. They're making moves for David for sure, but those other two are dangerous enough that they can kind of get involved and cause some disruption out there. So they keep sending them while they try and get David in the right position here, because David Talbot is not the one who's going to win a sprint out here today.
I completely agree. Nathan, looking at it from the other perspective, the dominant perspective would be next and short, and they're riding the perfect race right now through this point. Is all they need to do is just keep things in control. They've got their man, Brian Duffy Jr. The question for me, and I think that I'll answer first is, can Brian Duffy Jr. go 3 for 3 out here today? Unprecedented, even though we don't have a real precedent for this type of event. I have a feeling that he's going to set a very high standard, winning all 3 events in an Omnium. Really unheard of, to tell you.
If he does it, it's going to be massive, Dave. Now 5 seconds here, though, for Levinson. Nicely done by him, as 5.56 watts per kilogram here. Dave, things start getting a little bit dangerous here for Levinson to start ramping up a little bit and maybe be a danger to get into a top 5 in the overall if he is able to walk away with this one. If they're only worried about second place or better here, they may let this go. But then, Dave, you start stacking the front end of the race with a lot of pink and white. That gets kind of dangerous, doesn't it?
It does, but I still think that they're going to be comfortable with the situation. I love the fact that Sarah's No Pins wants to race this way, because this is your chance. This is your option, is race aggressively, try to disrupt things. That's exactly what they're doing, but it looks like Brad Greenberg now has moved himself up as he's going to start leading this chase, and that's how you control a race. Restart is going to participate as well, as it looks like they've got Pucker and Jaeger participating in the chase. But back to the front, this is Eric Levinson. He's been very active throughout the day as we make our way through the first third of this event.
Big jump here coming from next, presented by Insured. Now this is going to be Zalvesen. Again, this rider just continues to put the work in. He has been a major workhorse so far for next, presented by Insured. Love what he's doing. He does bring back Kellison, who is on the move as well, it looks like now, as Stefan here puts in a solid 500 kick. Now here comes the Farm Watts with Pucker.
All right, and you get the feeling this race is really changing its dynamic at the front right now as all the strong riders really starting to move up. So here we go. Splits happening left, right, and center out here as that gap is now down to, well, actually, I think the catch is going to be made here in the next 30 seconds or so as we'll hit the reset button at the front of the bike race. What's interesting to me, Nathan, is we got that split happening back in the peloton, but this is the catch. So it's going to be a really small group here, just about a second or so with the second group behind. I'm expecting these two groups to come back together as they are.
Yeah, they are all back together now, as you can see. And what's interesting, he's hold on. This is one of those situations where he's most likely going to get caught, but I've seen 1 second hold on when everyone just backs off, because it's like and somebody might just jump across quick to go, okay, no, that's enough of that. And now it does look like Levinson, well, he's pushing 5 here, but the speed's just too high from the group. It looks like they're just going to roll up to him without having to do a whole lot for it here, actually, as they have done the work. And Levinson is caught. It's all Grupo Compacto. A little bit of damage is done. Look at Dave. I actually can see in the background his watt balance all the way down to 4 kilojoules, actually. I mean, he really drained the tank doing that just now. Now, Bo, I love it. They're just going to keep on throwing them out, bodies off the front. This is what their forte is today, and the racers make the race. They have shown up to race. They're not going to sit around and watch. They're going to make next work for this one.
I love that comment. They're going to make the race, Nathan, because that's exactly what Cameron Cogburn is doing right now. Rather than roll around in circles with no plan, they came with a plan, and I respect that. Even if it doesn't work out for them, they're going to go down swinging out here today, and they're not going down yet, as they still have David Talbot sitting in 4th place with a chance. So here we go. Taking a look at the group has gotten very, very active on the front again, as Cameron Cogburn, Hayden Pucker, Scott Catanzaro. Look at you, rarely see this shot right here. Single file through the gardens.
That was a great shot, actually. Loving what is happening right now.
Never seen that.
Obviously, the speeds have really ramped up. Mason Roca. This is great to see. Dave. There's riders who are able to make these front groups with the type of elevation profile that we have here that have really, really good sprints. That maybe not winning the nationals outright, but you could maybe show up and win one of the races in the Omnium, and that's a big, big deal in and of itself.
In this group, wow, Mason Roca already does have that Masters National Championship. He's the former professional basketball player. I believe he played in the Greek and Italian leagues. He brings a lot. And isn't Mason Roca, I believe he was in the 45-plus group, if I remember correctly, which is even more impressive to be competitive here with these hitters.
Spencer Sagerbrook, another rider to watch out for when it comes to this kind of, Dave, this is a different kind of course, isn't it? Right? I mean, we have a situation here where the last two courses, absolute attrition, Richmond, UCI, punches in the tail here, but now as well as obviously the TT, but Spencer Sagerbrook, he's known for having one of the best kicks in the US of A. We've seen him win time and time again. Can he pull off a win today for one of these races? It'd be cool to see Spencer show up and put on a show today.
I'm a big fan of Spencer, really classy young man, and he's done his work becoming a velodrome, exceptional in track racing, and certainly he's in contention here. Going to be fun to watch as the riders just now making their way through the middle point. We're calling this 23.4 total distance out here today.
Well, there is a
There's
break
Spencer
off the front, Dave. I see Pink Tron up the road. Things may be getting a little bit dangerous here. Is it Cogburn that's still holding on? 6 seconds now this time around.
Cameron Cogburn, our leader. Again, they keep the pressure on out here. They've been relentless talking about the Ceres No Pins team. It's really been a tale of two themes here, with Cameron Cogburn and his Ceres No Pins team just stirring the pot, relentless on the aggression, whereas Next and Short have been trying to neutralize, cover, and reset this race over and over. And right now, I guess you'd have to say advantage going to Ceres No Pins as they got another rider up the rope, but it's not really the rider they need it to be, as if their perfect scenario has David Talbot taking the W in our criterium here, the third race in this Omnium, the third final race in this Omnium.
Kellison not repeating yesterday, actually. He was a Masters National Champion and was unable to repeat now on the attack, actually, interesting enough, in and amongst this elite field. This is a really good result, actually, for Kellison to be here in and amongst them and making moves. Love to see it. I think he does like the crit racing a little bit more.
Yeah, and we've enjoyed watching him race for many years here on Zwift. So good job out there today, Brian, as we're back in with the chase group, remembering that we've got one rider off of the front, although it looks like they might be putting paid to that one here. Peloton looking kind of antsy to me right now, Nathan, as they spread out across the road again. And they're actually bringing this back without a huge effort right now.
Yeah, one lapped rider, just so everybody knows that is a lapped rider. So going backwards here, Cogburn now still with 3 seconds. Now it's a little different than when we saw last time around on this lap. 1 second was the difference at this point. Will he be able to continue to open this up as they back right on off? 3.8 watts per kilogram on the front here, coming in from our rider Zimmer from Patrick Dechelon now, as they bring it within 2 seconds. Now here's the thing. This is actually kind of smart, because the moment the catch is made, that's when they'll punch again. And so since it's backed off, it's actually giving them a little bit more time to not have to chase a Ceres No Pins rider unless they're going to go again. Cogburn now ramps it back up, seeing he's not caught, because they're playing games with the games of Ceres now.
Nathan, that was really astute, to tell you the truth. If you're next and you make the catch right now, guess what you've got? Another counterattack to deal with. So for them, feathering this out there, if they could leave Levinson out here, it looks like the catch is ultimately going to be made now, but the longer they could let him dangle out there, the better it's Levinson attacking out of that group to come over the top of Cogburn. I apologize. So it looks like they're just going to swap out a new attacking rider, or does it all come back together? Certainly, Ceres No Pins has done a tremendous amount of work to make this race spicy.
I absolutely love what they're doing, but it's just been a little bit too difficult with the control over and over again coming from Next Presented Short. Where is our man currently, though? I haven't seen Duffy Jr. once, and that's exactly what he needs to be doing as long as he's in it amongst this crew.
There was a technique that Muhammad Ali used called the rope-a-dope, right? Where you let your opponent wear themselves out by wailing on you, but not really doing any damage to you. And that's exactly what Next has done.
100%.
They've rope-a-doped this thing.
Looking pretty comfy here at this point, doesn't he, Dave? I don't know.
That's the Muhammad Ali of bike racing right there.
Sitting in 23rd, 25th place, exactly where he needs to be. I see pink off the front. That's the name of this game so far. Now making another move. It is going to be Cyrus Nopins. Actually, two of them now making a little bit of a move. It's Matthew Curo, again, doing that lead out situation that we saw earlier today as well. Levinson, Zalvinson now covering. He's going to be the cover and kill man over and over again. And Curo, Levinson now off the front, trying to get a win here, though, for Cyrus Nopins. Perhaps just a single one on the day. We're going to be coming down to 2 laps to go here real quick, Dave.
Yeah, and it looks, Nathan, like they're really ready to throw down now. It's worth noting at this point in the race that Cyrus Nopins deserves a tremendous amount of credit for what they've tried to do out here. But the reality is next and short comes correct. And they've been doing exactly what they need to do to neutralize these brutal attacks being thrown at them by Cyrus Nopins. The team that's kind of quietly, Nathan, sat back, and I'm getting ready for it now. Do we see a late race Hayden Pucker attack?
Would not be surprised one bit, not one bit at all. Perhaps that's exactly what we'll see here. Now, it's going to be, again, more pink and white off the front here. Matt Cubro now making the moves here.
This has been phenomenal they came with the plan. They stuck to it. We'll see if it's going to pay off or not. The big payday comes in about, well, as Nathan said, we're inside of 2 laps of racing remaining here. So this is the business end. Pink and white all over the front. This time it's the pride of New York, Matt Curbo, as he takes over for his teammate. So, Nathan, they've spent more than half of this race with a solo rider off the front at this point.
Yeah, man, this is a tough one here for the Cyrus Nopins crew. They keep on trying and keep on trying. Now, okay, here's it is. They set him up, and now this is the moment he's been waiting. I mean, he's been really quiet the last 2 laps. We just saw 11 watts per kilogram. Well, that's going to see a response here from next. Now they know they need to make some moves.
They've done everything they could. They put every piece in position, and now they're making the big play. David Talbot on the attack. He's pushed all of his chips into the middle of the table. We've got a long way to go, but if they're going to do something, Nathan, this was it. I respect the courage that we're seeing here from Cyrus Nopins, but I think next right now has got to be champing at the bit back in that group, as this was the play that they needed. The big problem for them, every now and then, you have 2 dogs that are fighting for a bone, and while they're fighting, a third dog comes along and takes it. That just might be Restart and Hayden Pucker today. If they can let these 2 teams, that being Cyrus Nopins and Next and Short, battle each other into oblivion, maybe Restart finds a crack in the door. They're sitting in 3rd right now in the Omnium with Hayden Pucker. All respect to David Talbot. He's keeping the watts high.
They have Neil Freyet too. They have Freyet too as well. So, I mean, there's
2 very talented riders. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
absolutely. Thank you for that.
He's been so quiet at this point. He has been really quiet.
That is a great catch, Nathan. As Freyet is the rider out of Seattle that we were talking about. He's racing out of Metier today up there on Capitol Hill.
Great. It's actually so great.
I'm looking forward to heading there in a couple of weeks, actually. I love Metier, and that's certainly the way to do it. Find yourself in a world-class establishment while you're racing. Maybe Neil Freyet will be able to use those bonus watts to his. That's Neil that we're with right now. So he's done a really good job of hanging around, being right there. Nathan, that was a good catch. I think Brian Duffy Jr. would have to say that is his danger man, along with Hayden Pucker.
This is getting really interesting here now at this point, Dave. I mean, because Freyet here. What I think is really cool. First of all, he's changed his camera up, so he's no longer.
They fixed that.
Yeah. So what I think is really cool is that the fact that he was going uphill and he needed to be pointed uphill, but now he understands we're on a flatter course. So Freyet now here, as you can see, got things, and this is a rider who has really, really impressed me as of recently. The way that he has been able to, the grit that he has. Like, the way he won in Innsbruck, it was really about the amount of heart that he's got. You know, this guy, he just finds that extra gear. And if you bring him to a line, he will just grind every last gear he can to get every ounce of energy that he can out of that body. So I think, watch out for Freyad. If this gets into a situation where they start ramping it up in this last lap here, he could end up with a really solid result. Only 3 seconds for Talbot. The writing is kind of on the wall here, I think, for David Talbot, because I think the reality is he is not a sprinter. If this comes down to what we've been expecting, Dave, it's just a little too much for a guy like Talbot to try and take down these big watts from the likes of, next presented by Insured, Hayden Pucker. Not really a sprinter, though. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a late attack from him.
He might only have a 5% chance of winning in a solo breakaway, but it's better than the chances he has back in the peloton. So I respect what he's doing here. Going back to Neil Freyet, Nathan, I would rather try and pry a T-bone steak out of a pit bull's mouth than beat that guy in a finishing sprint. That's how dangerous he's going to be for Brian Duffy Jr. I think if you start boxing the trifecta and looking at the top 3 in this race, those are 2 names it's really hard to leave out of our top 3 here. The big question is, can Brian Duffy Jr. go 3 for 3? And, Nathan, going back to that topic of, a lot of the criteriums that use an omnium format, 4 days, 3 days of racing, well, it's 3 very similar criteriums. What we did here today was the exact opposite of that. 3 very different types of bike races, whether it was the very punchy Richmond course that they raced on, the 8-kilometer time trial with a brutal climb to finish it off there in Bologna, or this, one of the best crit courses that we've got on Zwift. He's doing it in 3 completely different arenas if he can win here. And I think Brian Duffy Jr. is still the favorite to win in this group.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. But Dave, here's the thing is... there's a second place on the line here, and that's I think Freyad is. I mean, he wants to win, and if he gets really lucky, but I mean, at the same time, second place overall at Nationals is massive here. And Freyad, as you can see here, is completely focused on this. But we're starting to see the moves from the riders who do not want to sprint, because we're into the last lap. Bell lap has begun now at this point, and of course, we see Zach Neer off the front.
What a breakaway specialist. Zach Neer, maybe the most dangerous rider to let go clear inside of 3K would be Zach Neer. So, oh boy, we got ourselves an absolute Donnybrook. Welcome, everybody. National championship on the line. Can Brian Duffy Jr. do it? That's Zach Neer that we're in with now, another Hall of Famer in the world of esports.
All right, now the attack's coming up over the top here. It is going to be Levinson. Next percent insured, though they cover it and they kill it here, Dave, as they have been doing. Big moves being made, as you can see. Dave, this is a tough one here as we watch the Cogburn now. On the front there, again, Star, Snowpin, Sagabrook, Cotton, Zaro, Neer. That's your top 4. It's just going to ramp up from here on out, I think, Dave. Non-stop. This is it for national championships. Now, it's not going to be a sit-up and sprint now at this point. Non-stop attacks. Hold on to your seats, everybody.
The accelerator is on the floorboard. It is duct tape there. There'll be no backing off at all. Full gas all the way to the line here, as it looks like Cogburn trying to keep the speed high, but this is all playing into the hands of Next Insured right now. Is Nathan, we are locked and loaded. This is not a drill. It's big-time bike racing back here, and there's the Hayden Pucker move. Hayden Pucker on the attack, man, turning himself into wattage cottage and up and over the top. It's going to be a big move from Matt Kerbo.
Kerbo now 7.2 watts per kilogram, almost there. Now coming right into the last couple of K. The lead out here, not the lead out actually, Hail Mary here coming from Matt Kerbo. Love to see what he's up to here. Salveson now closing it down, and Dave, this is going to be the next presented by Insured train that's going to just keep on shutting it down, setting up their man. It looks like Duffy Jr. Jay Brune is here as well, looking for some points, it looks like, for a top 10 situation here. Look at next. The green is on the front now with Salveson. He's been the sacrificial lamb all the way to this point here. Pucker's sitting there as well, though. He's sitting in, waiting for the time to pounce, but he does not have the sprint. Watch for the 1K to go kick coming from Pucker.
This is going to be right to the line. Here we go. Final 500 meters. Oh, my goodness. Next has got this lined up. I think they've got it the way they want it, Nathan.
Yep, Zach Neer now to the front. Uberti to the front. Now here we go. Mason Roca. Big kick from Roca. What is this? 1,021 watts from Roca out of nowhere. 53 kilometers per hour.
This is huge. So Mason Roca, the Master 45-49 national champion from yesterday, full gas on the front. It's still not over, but Roca is drilling it.
Absolutely. This is amazing to see. I absolutely love this, but I don't think he's going to be able to hang on to this at this point because there is a pack of hungry wolves charging. Here we go. It's going to be next presented by Insured. Back on the front, it's Uberti. Now over the top, Sagerbrook. Now backing off. Sagerbrook finds himself not where he wants to be. They're too early. They're getting too excited, but look at the separations, Dave. Actually, it's not even a group sprint at this point. All these attacks. Here comes Duffy. Now Duffy Jr. 9 watts per kilogram. Married into the finish line. Is he going to take it 3 for 3? Spagerbook, 14 watts per kilogram, 14 watts per kilogram. Duffy Jr., is he going to do it? This might be the most dominant performance we've ever seen in the Zwift race, and it's going to be Freya takes it. Freya takes it at the line, but Duffy for the win in the Omnium. Whoa.
Oh, wow. So Neil gets the win in the criterium. Duffy Jr., a first, and a second. He is your freshly minted national esports champion. Thank you, Project Echelon. Thank you, USA Cycling. And thank you, Zwift. That was phenomenal. And hey, Neil, wow, what a finish from Neil Freyette. Seattle in the house.
That was amazing from Neil Freyette. Really, really impressive riding there at the end from Freyette. Able to take that down and steal the thunder a little bit. But, you know, all that had to happen was getting a first, and a second. That's going to be plenty. Now, everybody, we are going to get our results up in just a second, but we cannot miss the racing across here. And it is a little bit on top of each other here. So we definitely want to jump right down in with the ladies as they jump out on course. It looks like things are a little bit calmer in amongst the ladies. So we will take a look at the men's results if they do keep it calm. If not, we'll stay right here with the ladies coverage and get on over to our results for the men afterwards. But congratulations to Brian Duffy Jr. on taking down that national championship.
Yeah, that was awesome. Nathan, we are trying to fit 100 pounds of awesome bike racing into a 50-pound bag, and it's working. It's incredible how much awesome racing we've seen today. The fact that they're overlapping, that's a good problem to have as the action is nonstop. So again, this is the final race that we have for you here today. We've enjoyed 3 of the men's Omni events. This is the women's final go around here. Boy, it's really hard to wrap your mind around everything that's going on. I know Nathan is working hard to get those results up, but right now we got to stay with this because we've got an attack going clear. Sarah Roach, the pride of Houston, on the attack with her teammate Melissa Aiken. These two are the future of esports racing, no doubt about it. It's actually all 3 of the Jen Reel, another one of the Texas-based riders, getting up to join these two, as it looks like Liz Van Houweling is leading the chase. And a little bit of a gap, but it's all basically together. You're going to hear a lot more about Sarah Roach. This is a woman that has
really impressed with her, actually. Like this, This is a breakthrough performance. She must have been training specifically for this because I've seen her definitely at a high level, but not competing like this kind of a high level. This is amazing from Sarah Roach, actually. I'm very, very impressed by her efforts this time around.
I want to say not only that, Melissa Aiken, Nathan, deserves the same credit. These 2 women have committed themselves to making a huge growth in esports, and it is working. So, ladies, we are noticing and are super proud of you too. So that's our front group right now. Is Nathan, what do you think when we talk about sprinters out here? A little bit of a different course. Liz Van Houweling, maybe?
Van Houweling, actually, you know what, Dave? M. Nyquist, she
Another good choice.
You let her come to the line with you. Watch out.
That's on you. That's on you.
Yeah, I mean, right? Like we saw, obviously. And here's the thing, Dave. I don't know how hard she went in Bologna. Maybe specifically looking for a win out here because she's been working on her kick. So Nyquist, it's a dark horse. It's a wild card, I'm going to say. But I've seen her with some pretty crazy kicks recently. Sarah Roach is another one that I'd watch out for if it comes to the line as well. But Liz Van Houweling, I'd say the out and out favorite if it does come to a heads up sprint.
We're into now, basically the third hour of racing. It hasn't been throughout the 3 hours, but the start, the stop, the effort, the recovery. These women have been through a lot here, and the endurance starts to come into play. And I think that's why it's interesting. This is going to be an attack that we're looking at from Gallegos, and you got to take this seriously. This is a woman on a mission. I mean, remembering that in the first race, she had that really unfortunate power dropout. She came back and crushed the time trial. And in my mind, Gallegos is now one of the 3 best American women.
She is without any smashing. Like, she just went 11 watts per kilogram, Dave. Like, this woman is on a mission. KK. That is for sure. KK jumping right on top of that here. But Elise Gallegos, and here's the thing. She did this in Innsbruck, Dave, and they let her go, and they regretted it big time. Well, but Kirsten Kolchinski over the top now.
In Innsbruck, Nathan, they didn't know who she was. Now they do.
Yep, 100%. Well, here we go, Dave, as it's all back together, but it's definitely...
I can't believe it. I thought that was going to be a major split. I had a feeling Elise was just going to make a statement, maybe the frustration talking a little bit, but she's just going to make this into a tough race. These women did not come to play around today. Front group all together now.
How many do we got left, though? 1, 2, 3...
9.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I think 8.
8.
Am I counting right? Maybe I'm not counting right.
Baker's
no,
9.
It is 8.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Well, we have dropped 2 off. Melissa Aiken, unable to hold on. Good job for Melissa Aiken showing up here. Gabi as well as 1 row, and then Megan Lester going to be off the back here. So we've got 8 up for our final race in this national championship. 1 lap down almost with 5 to go. And it's going to be Roach on the front here, but backing right on off to 0.5 watts per kilogram. And I think there's a few of these ladies that are looking for a sprint.
Want to shout out Megan Lester as well, Nathan. You, when you watch the development of riders, when you see what she did in the beginning part of this race, you realize she's got so much potential, and she's going to be able to hang in these pelotons longer and longer until she's getting the results that she's looking for. But she's already passed the litmus test. She's got heart and courage. That's what it takes.
100%. And Jennifer Reel now making her way to the front, it looks like. Nice job by Jen being here and representing. As what's interesting here, Dave, is I think Jen, look at the riot kits have shown up. They've got definitely in that they use this multicolored Zwift kit that we're looking at here. What would you call that? What would you call those colors?
We've joked about this. Goes. Remember the Tomac joke that this was like the jerseys that John Tomac raced in back in the 80s. Yeah, I still feel that holds true. This jersey has a certain timeless quality to it. But I'm with you, Nathan. How about the fact that Riot has the dominant group in this peloton? They're the only team with 3 riders. It looks like it might come back. Melissa Aiken is rejoining.
Nicely done by Aiken. Talk about heart. Nicely done. She's going to roll right through them. She's like, forget it. I'm coming right through. No, she's not. Okay. Well, now Roach says, hey, you might have caught us, but as your teammate, I'm going to make a move now.
Well, these two, there's a certain synergy that they share, Aitken and Roach, for sure. Is they're going to, if they can get a few more women into that program at this level, they're going to become one of the dominant teams for sure. Going back into Houston with Sarah Roach. Sarah with some great leg speed here. A marathoner, a mom of 2 as well. I'm definitely thinking that Sarah Roach is going to become one of the cornerstones in our community, just like Kristen Kolchinski is now. Right there next to her is Kolchinski, the Virginia Blue Ridge 2024 rider, moving up to the front. That's Elise Gallegos there in the Wahoo Lacole kit, the well-known blue and lavender, purple, magenta. I'll keep going. Parrot? I don't know.
Okay, well, Kolchinski is on the front. She takes over at 4.1 watts per kilometer. We continue to watch the avatar of Roach, though. Interesting to see that Kolchinski now backs off. I wonder if I think Kolchinski's trying to be really smart here and waiting for chinks in the armor. And she does these little tests from what I've seen so far and then goes, oh, no. It's not time.
There goes Elise again.
Ooh, Gallegos.
So Elise is... Yeah, this is the second time that Elise has just elevated the pace. Last time she did this, Kolchinski jumped right on her wheel.
And Kolchinski's going 7.7 watts per kilogram. And this, if she goes across and gets away with Gallegos, this is actually within her wheelhouse. That's exactly what she probably wants, is for the two of them to go away. Van Houweling knows. Look at Van Houweling jumping right on that. Kolchinski's really giving it here right now. She doesn't want to let that get away. She's actually pulling Van Houweling with this. This is tough here, Dave. What is the current? We got to take a look at the current standings and really figure out what the whole math situation is here, because there's lots of math going on inside these riders' heads right now.
I realize it's a 3-ring circus for you, Nathan, because we're now 7K in. This is the final race of our USA Cycling National Championships. This will finish just after 23K. I know folks are interested about the men's results, but this women's race is too exciting to leave, that's for sure. As you can see, Elise Gallegos off the front again. Sarah Roach, who's really leveled up, leading the chase right now. Sarah Roach, even though you see an American flag there, is from England, a naturalized American citizen.
Huh. Okay. Nice.
She has an English accent.
Gallegos here.
We'll have to get her talking. Yeah.
Nice little move here by Gallegos. It looks like I'm unable to hold on. It's going to be Nyquist now going to the front, and it's all back together. Dave, what's Van Houweling? Let's get some looks here, Dave, real quick. I want to take a look at these athletes, and can we get a little bit of an idea of like where they're at? It looks to me like Van Houweling's feeling pretty good, to be honest.
Well, she looks great. I mean, as far as her energy, you just feel her. She's effervescent now. Her hair has changed. I think that's the back fan coming into play. But, I mean, she just looks like someone bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, right? Is that still a saying?
No. I'm just kidding. Yes, it is. Kolchinski?
You know what I mean? She looks very... Kolchinski, to me, looks... I mean, again, this is pretty classic, Kristen, but she's been sick. This is, she takes this seriously. She looks like a woman at work, to me.
Yeah, I have a feeling, though, but Dave, she has been putting the good efforts in here so far. We'll see what she can make happen. Aiken, now, as you can see, still in it. Good on her for getting back involved at the front end of this race. Melissa Aiken now taking over, actually, at the front. Nicely done. I like what I'm seeing here from Aiken. She's not going to just sit around. She wants to get involved.
Yeah, and interesting, isn't it, when you see how different the styles that the riders use at home are. For sure. This is Melissa Aiken that we were just in cam with, and you can see her on the front right now. And actually, she is the Tête de la Corsa, the front of the bike race.
2 down, 4 to go.
2 down, 4 to go.
Championship out here today.
So, Nathan, can we take a look at how the points stand here? We might have a moment as the third race, Kolchinski with a first and a second, but it's kind of 2 firsts because of that power dropout that unfortunately Elise Gallegos had in race number 1. Although Elise, I believe, had climbed all the way up to 4th with her win in race number 2. It's still Kolchinski who was in that dominant position with a 20-point advantage over Liz Van Houweling. And I think that Van Houweling is really the danger woman out here for Kristen Kolchinski.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll see if we can bring in the Omniums here as soon as possible. At this moment,
sorry, they're not trying to produce you.
No, that's okay. That's all right. Aiken here now, 5.6 though. I like what she's up to. I mean, just making the race hard. She's like, look, and maybe Dave, if you're the kind of rider that is this like, look, I don't want. Oh, good call, Dave. That's exactly what's going on here, and there it is, right on cue.
Yeah, and these two are really synced up, and I love that. If sports are hard enough. To do it alone, you're missing out on a big part of the camaraderie. And these two women have exactly that. Talking about that's Roach that you're in camera with, Sarah Roach here, and her teammate Melissa Aiken. They play off each other very, very well, and they're only going to get better.
Yeah, nicely done by Sarah Roach, getting a little bit of a gap actually. And Dave, because of where the standings are at, they're not that interested in chasing.
Well, and again, that's sophisticated racing, right? You only pay attention to what matters. And I think that just the gravity of this group, though, is that's going to be Jen Reel. It looks like starting to chase them back. M. Nyquist is going to sit on Jen's wheel.
You have
here.
You have some of the minor placings starting to get involved here because they're fighting it out for their placings here between each other. And now you've got this whole other race going on, Dave, with Van Houweling marking Kolchinski marking Gallegos to try and get away here. Gallegos as well. So, I mean, this is interesting, Dave. It's really turning into two different races in some ways, but they intertwine at times.
Well, it's so perfect, Nathan, just like in Tour de France, right? Where you'll have riders who are maybe fighting to get a top 5 spot that doesn't really affect the outright win, but it does affect the bike race for sure. And I think you nailed it. That's exactly what we were seeing, but we're now back to that danger women, or I should say heavy hitters, as KK on the front with Liz Van Houweling second wheel. KK's going big now, middle part of the race. What do you think's running through her mind, Nathan?
I think she doesn't want to come to a sprint situation because it's too risky. It's too risky. There's too many ladies. If she has to sprint with this crowd, Dave, there's enough places between her and people that she can lose to in that crowd that could put a lot of bodies between herself and Liz. I mean, at this point, Dave, she's either got to mark Liz in the sprint or she has to break this apart and beat Liz to the line, or at least be second or third wheel to her.
Well, so what are your controllables then? Breaking this apart, I think that she can do and should do. I could not agree with you more, Nathan. She does not want, if she's going to win the national championship, her best path to that is not sprinting with this entire group at the end of this race. It would be way better for her to get a second place to Liz Van Houweling and break away with those two. If she can go clear with Van Houweling, she can't lose the national championship.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how that works right here? Because what Van Houweling wants is she wants as many bodies
Van Houweling wants to keep it together.
Yeah, she wants as many bodies as she possibly can get here in and amongst this crew.
So Van Houweling, if she wins this race, which is possible, believe me, all she needs is one other rider to finish ahead of Kolchinski, and we've got a tie on points. I'm not exactly sure. We'll have to look at what the count back is.
The count back is the winner of the TT. The winner of the TT. So Kristen still has that up her sleeve.
No, Gallegos won the TT.
No. Better place. Apologies. I didn't say it right.
Yeah.
I didn't say it right. Apologies. The better place.
Right. 100%. Yeah. So interesting, Nathan. Very interesting here. We've got a lot to race for. Sarah Roach might not win the national championship, but she's going to be a part of deciding who does.
Yeah, and Roach here continues
Isn't
to press
that cool?
on. Yeah, everybody here affects the race. I mean, everyone right now is an absolute player in this. They are a chess piece, and they're kind of, the other thing is like, do they all want it to play out a certain way, and how do their motivations for how they will place change it up for everybody else too? It's so interesting how the motivational dynamics play out in this pack with half the race down now, Dave. 3 to go.
One thing I love, every woman on your screen would love to win this criteria. Right? I mean, like, you look at this group and what we've got, there's no question. There's so many storylines that you can follow along with. Next Insured added a women's team this year, and Liz Van Houweling was the cornerstone of that squad. I think she was the first significant rider that they were able to bring on board, and here she is representing them. They've already got a win on the men's side of things with Brian Duffy Jr., and Liz Van Houweling is still in contention. So this is really fascinating. For a rider like Sarah Roach, a big win is in her future. It could be today. And that's one of the most beautiful things about bike racing is hope. There's always a chance.
It really is. And I absolutely love the way that this is played out with the hope still there, Dave. It isn't all decided yet at all. There's still plenty of racing to go with 3 laps. And how's it going to play? Sarah Roach has been the instigator every time over this. Is she going to come on cue here? And here we go. On cue, Sarah Roach starts to press it with Aiken. I love what Synergy is up to here.
Yeah, Synergy deserves a lot of credit for the way that they've been racing out here today. This national championship has really been an opportunity to highlight some of the really positive things that are happening in this sport, and this Synergy team is absolutely one of them. As we take a look at 2 women who are really stepping up, Roach and Aitken on the front, Real Gallegos all chasing now. The story, and this is interesting, Sarah Roach has hit out with authority through the middle part of this race. This woman is absolutely relentless. So Roach now pressing forward. Behind her, the damage has been extensive. As we take a look at, they're just not going to give any leash out here, nor should they. Although I do want to see her teammate not chasing her.
Aiken, yeah, sitting in that second wheel there, interesting enough. That is making things a little bit more difficult. What's interesting to me behind there, though, is that you do see that Kolchinski as well as Van Houweling just marked right next to each other, not leaving each other's side one bit. Gallegos now coming on through, but 2.2 watts per kilogram. Not really interested in pushing it all. So now we've got 2.5 laps to go, Dave, and there was another match being burned.
It's interesting, Nathan, because how can you sleep on Gallegos after what we just saw in Bologna and really what we've witnessed with Echelon Racing League over the last month? She has become the top emerging talent in esports. No doubt at all in my mind. And I think that when you look at it with Liz Van Houweling, Kristen Kolchinski, yeah, I mean, Gallegos, Nathan, she's going to be hard to beat out here today on this course, especially just knowing her motivation and her trajectory.
Yeah, guy. I mean, well, does she have a kick though? She needs to try and get away.
No, what exactly? And I think that any second now we're going to witness a blistering attack from her. She has stayed in the wheels. She hasn't put her nose in the wind at all. There's nobody who's got more of a charge on her battery right now than Gallegos in this group. So we'll see. I'm pretty confident we're going to see something special from her.
Well,
either way, we're in for a treat.
We are all together now at this point. There's a national championship on the line, and it's really the calm before the storm here at this point. This third lap has been just Sarah Roach and now very, very quiet. There's some plans being made here in the background. You know that there's DSs in the ears. Van Houweling is going to have next in the ears here, cheering her on. 2024, Josh Lipka, they're all going to be in with Kolchinski here, chatting away. Obviously the Riot team's got 3 riders in here who all want to take a win here. So, this is a major, their strategy. This is like obvious strategy being played out now at this point in the background. And Kolchinski says, okay, this is my strategy. I'm just going to take it to you.
Now, this is interesting because I want to see how Gallegos responds. When Kolchinski throws her first cards down, that moves us into the finale of this event. And it's still, she's lifting the pace, but she's not going quite all in yet, talking about KK here. I completely agree with your assessment a couple of laps ago, Nathan, that if there's one rider that needs to blow this group up, it's KK.
Yeah, and making the move here, but then heading right to the back here, as you can see. So interesting enough, it looks like Kristen here trying to make it happen, but unable to make the move past here. Now back in with Jen Real here, 173 beats per minute, hanging on. Nicely done. M. Nyquist now to the front.
Christy Tracy's going to rejoin this group. Good job, Christy. That's what you call never giving up, and is the ethos of anybody. Christy Tracy's not only going to catch the group, she's going to go right through the group now. As we take a look at our peloton, we're going to come up pretty quickly here on the penultimate lap, right in the middle part of the race now. A bit of a break, really. When KK went to the front, I thought maybe she was going to initiate moving us into a whole new phase of this race, but that was not the case here.
Jumping back in with Kolchinski here as she sits on the back here, Dave. As we come into 2 laps to go, I'm trying to get an idea of like what the tactic is. She's made these little bit of a moves and what kind of feeling that she might have in the legs now at this point with the way that she's moving. She tried just a moment ago, but just could not break it. Dave, is there going to be an all-in attack that she can actually make work here on this course? It's really difficult, and Roach is kind of controlling the sections of course where you can make anything move.
I tend to believe in KK, to tell you the truth, Nathan. I think that she's rolling through right now. This is not her committing yet. And, that's been, I would think, for Kristen over the years, her greatest development. She's always been strong. I think her patience and her ability to read a race and listen to Josh Lipka and their ability really to get a desirable outcome has greatly increased by being smarter about the way they race. And I think that's kind of what we're witnessing right now is Kristen Kolchinski. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think that's where she's at right now. She could attack and go clear, but I think she's waiting for the right moment.
Sarah now doing what Sarah's been doing every single time, same exact section. She does have a little bit of a gap now at this point. Looking behind her, is this causing any kind of damage to the favorites for the overall? Aitken's here, Roach is here. Now, here's the thing, Dave. I think Kolchinski's been given orders to just sit and and that's not a jump across might be the best move rather than go with this, right? And so this is interesting now because this changes the dynamic. Roach now over the top, Aitken's here, the Synergy team working together.
Remember, we were saying that what Kolchinski needs is that group to split. It's splitting, but she's not on the right side. Does she want to go across? As I think right now, this is fascinating. As all of the heavy hitters are marking each other back in that group, all of a sudden, this is a real opportunity. If these 3 women can work together, they might have found a scene
5 seconds, Dave.
Here.
They have 5 seconds.
This is going to be fantastic. So let's see. It's real Roach and Aitken.
Yep.
So they've been trying, Roach and Aitken have been trying to get this going for the last 2 laps. They finally have cracked the code. They've got Jen Reel with them, gap going out to 7-8 seconds. This is a very interesting dynamic playing out right now, but this is not Kolchinski's problem, Nathan. These riders can go up the road. This is not going to affect her national championship dream. None of these riders, by winning second or third, are going to overtake her in the points table.
Now this is your 3-up group here now at this point, and 184 beats per minute here coming from Aitken. Roach now real there up at 176. Roach continue to press the pace now, as you can see. Nicely done here by Roach. Man, she really is on the move today, isn't she, Dave?
Yeah, very motivated. I'd like to see these 3 sync up and work together. I think that's the chance that they have to pull off one of the biggest upsets that we've seen in racing history on Zwift. I mean, they're in with a chance here. We're looking at a 5-6 second advantage. It really becomes, Nathan, how negative does the racing get back in that chase group? How much are they going to be looking at each other as they're looking at the Omnium, the overall prize? These 3 women are all in, committing to, so they're down to 2 laps to go now, and this advantage is enough that this conversation goes on.
Now on the move. Here we go. This is the real moves now. This is it. Van Houweling trying to break Kolchinski. This is it here, Dave. They're really starting to try and make these moves happen now as Kolchinski now has to respond.
Yeah, she's there, getting up on that wheel. So that was a very dangerous moment, but KK is able to right the ship. They did attack with fury, and she answers.
Yeah, and it's 3 seconds up the road now at this point. They're going to back right on off. Sidlick now says, no, enough is enough. Kolchinski's sitting on, playing it smart. They've got 3 seconds still up the road. 3 seconds up the road. They have not caught that main group. Kolchinski's sitting on and just following the wheel of Van Houweling. Dave, at this point, do you think she's just going to try and outsprint Van Houweling? I mean, what?
Well, no. I think we have long enough to go that KK has got to be chambering one attack. I think that the momentum that this group has here, the group of 5 that we're looking at, is when they surge, the next time that there's an attack out of this group, I'm going to imagine that they're going to make that catch of that group of 3 up the road here. Although,
they're
you never do know how.
They're going away
again.
Yeah,
this is fascinating. So these are 3 leaders. It looks like back to the chase. So chase 1.
Here you go, Dave. Sorry about that.
Hey, no problem. This is incredible. So that's going to be, again, Roach, Reel, and Aitken. Sounds like a law firm. It's actually our 3-rider lead group, but that's a lapped rider there that they've caught and passed. So we now are looking at, Nathan, a 6-second advantage as Nyquist is leading up the chase. That's interesting. That
Hey,
Nyquist is the one.
This is in KK's favor, I think, isn't it? The point structure, is this in her favor with less points available, and that, or does the spread? How big is the spread on the lower points?
No, this is good because so the winner gets 200, second is 190, third is 180, and then we start moving into the 5 points. You're absolutely right, Nathan. As the points start to tighten up as you move through the top 10, this is good for KK to have all of these points going up the road.
Exactly, because
that was a great catch, Nathan.
Those bigger jumps in the point structure are in favor of Van Houweling.
Kristen's
got the bigger gap right now. If she can stay within, see if it's the lower placings, she can be
5.
within 3. Yeah, it's a big difference.
Yep.
So this is good for her. As long as she, it's risky to not just win outright, obviously, but if she has to sprint to the line in a pack, she'd rather have it this way.
And remembering that Van Houweling needs to finish 3 spots or have 3 spots separating her from Kolchinski.
Van Houweling goes, here we go. Kolchinski was actually, she was just chatting with Josh just a moment ago. It looked like actually, and I saw it in camera here. Now having to respond to it, Van Houweling all in for just a moment. Kolchinski right on the wheel though.
All right, well, so now she's going to have to bear down on this. This is a big play from Van Houweling. She's going to start running out of opportunities. That's going to be Gallegos over the top. So Elise Gallegos now very, very dangerous to have her attacking here, Nathan.
Yeah, and I wonder if Kolchinski's even going to respond to that. That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, now Gallegos, look at her. You can tell she's going for it. She's head down, trying to get the gap that she's looking for, but now it gets covered very quickly. Sidlick right on top of it. Kolchinski's there still as well. Now they're starting to be in gaps behind here. Melissa Aitken, Roach, and others still up the road. It is going to be Roach, Reel, and Aitken with 5 seconds still over this pack. Gallegos now, she settles it right on down. Van Houweling on the wheel. Is Kolchinski going to go? Roll through speed? No, she backs off to 1.4.
Boy, Kolchinski just doing enough to keep her head above water. It seems so savvy, remembering that she's been racing sick. She's really, really impressing us out here today. So can she hold on and take this Omnium? This is an interesting story. I mean, Nathan, I think she's in pretty good shape now. It's going to take a massive, massive effort from the next rider, Liz Van Houweling. Nathan, they're backing off a little bit here in this group. It's starting to look like that group of 3 might stay away. Aitken, Reel, and Roach. I think they are going to stay away. This benefits.
That's amazing. Oh, Liz looks frustrated. I just saw a little bit of, because here's the thing, Dave. This is such a tough situation for her at this point. You get stuck in a rock in a hard place, and eventually, do you just even have the energy to maybe anything happen any longer? At 12 seconds, Dave, the race win for this race specifically has gone up the road. So here goes Van Houweling again. All in from Van Houweling.
Listen, Liz Van Houweling, ride or die is her attitude, and I absolutely love it that she will not roll down. She's not going to accept a silver medal without a real fight out here. So KK covers and goes over the top. This is it. It is on like Donkey Kong from here on in. KK over the top. Van Houweling now being put under pressure. And who is next? Oh my, Stephanie Sidlick rolling through. So this is just body blow after body blow after body blow being thrown in the chase group. We go back to the front. It's starting to look like our winner of the criterium is in this group of 3. Again, Melissa Aitken, Sarah Roach, and Jen Reel. We're going to find out who wants it more. We can talk about the tactical advantage that the 2 Synergy ladies have here, Nathan.
They can just go 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. I mean, why not? Just keep it moving. I mean, Aitken, though, she's going to press the pace. Aitken, I think, is the sacrifice perhaps here. Now, Jennifer Reel, though, 4.5. They're all just matching each other right now.
Yesterday, these 3 were racing together in our Masters National Championship. Sarah Roach took a silver medal in her age group, a little bit younger than Jen Reel, who took the outright win. They raced the women 35-49 all together, so there's a lot of familiarity in this group. That's Sarah Roach up and out of the saddle. She's absolutely drilling it here. This would be the biggest esports win of Sarah Roach's career. Of Melissa Aitken's career. I even think of Jen Reel's career, Nathan.
Yeah, now Jen Reel here sitting on. Now they've got it, Dave. It's over. Like they have this at this point. So now it's a race for fourth place behind. Now, not for the national championship, but this is big points, and this is going to take them up the leaderboard. That's for sure. But the win outright for national championship is that Kolchinski versus Van Houweling situation behind. But that's 19 seconds back now at this point. Aitken, Roach versus Reel for the win on this specific race number 3 in Neokyo.
Boy, so, if you look at racing historically, 2 riders in a 3-rider group have a massive advantage, but right now they're not really deploying that advantage. Theoretically, it would be just start tag teaming. One rider attacks, force Jen to chase, and if she makes the catch, the other rider attacks. But right now it looks like they want to play this as a 3-rider sprint. Do you think they're just trusting in their sprint,
This
Nathan?
is it, Dave. I mean, we're in the last couple hundred meters. This is going to be the punch at this point. Here goes Reel. Reel's the first one to go. Jen Reel now makes the attack. Sarah Roach, 11 watts per kilogram. Roach, right to the line. Reel, Roach. Sarah Roach takes that one down.
Roach.
What a move from Roach. Now we're coming to the line, though. We still got another race behind. What's going to happen?
Wow.
Is it going to be
Couple seconds.
Gallegos? Oh, my goodness. Here we go. Stephanie Siglich now opening things up. Sidlick, Kolchinski, 11 watts per kilogram. This is it. This is for a national championship. Kolchinski tries to hold on, but now she's fading. Van Houweling might be able to get the better of her. Kolchinski has to go. She has to go. It's going to be Van Houweling getting the better. It might come down to what did M. Nyquist do? Oh my goodness, Dave.
So I'm going to, wow. First off, incredible. It looks to me, Nathan, that Kolchinski will have done just enough to hold on. And you nailed it a couple of minutes ago. This was absolutely mind-blowing racing. So exciting today. The fact that those 3 riders went up the road and took the Lioness's share of points off of the table benefited Kolchinski in a major way, as those points drop off to a 5-point difference versus the 10-point difference. So 200 to 190 to 180, fourth place at 175, 170. You can see that should be, with my rudimentary mathematics, enough for Kristen Kolchinski to find herself in a field of flowers.
I love it. Find herself in a field of flowers. I have to that's so perfect, actually. As I think Kolchinski may have just won herself a national championship.
So I don't want to get out in front of ourselves. We'll wait for the data to come through.
I'm waiting. I'm going to make sure. Going to wait, and we're going to make sure. Let's go ahead.
That was incredible.
And, let's go ahead.
The real winners.
Go ahead.
Real winners were us getting to witness this. Absolutely awesome U.S. national championships. USA Cycling, thank you. Project Echelon, amazing job, Nathan. What a day.
Let's go ahead and take a look at how this race played out for race number 3. Then we will give you an update on the Omnium. Sarah Roach at the top, Dave.
Sarah Roach with the biggest win of her esports career. Can only imagine how that feels. Congratulations, Sarah. 8.6 watts per kilo in that 15-second sprint. Jen Reel, national championship this weekend, and another great ride by Jen Reel. Melissa Aitken ends up with the bronze medal today. That's really an upset and really fun to watch. Liz Van Houweling, tremendous racing from Liz out here today. She's going to earn even more fans as that perennial U.S. champion in 4th. Emily Nyquist in 5th with one of the best races of her career.
Look at that 11. I called Dave. I gotta say, I'm not trying to toot my own horn there, but look at 11.2. 11.2. Nyquist has been on fire with that sprint recently.
Yeah, she's a sprint queen, no doubt about it. Kristen Kolchinski in 6th place today, and they are calculating. We'll see if that was enough for KK to win the national championship. Elise Gallegos wins a lot of fans and hearts with the way that she races, and an incredible time trial today to take the 2nd race win. And Elise Gallegos ending up in 7th in this event, the 3rd race. Stephanie Sidlich for 8th, Christy Tracy 9th, and Jackie Godby in 10th. That is quite a list.
That is quite a list, that's for sure. Well, Schlater is giving us some cool looks of some of the amazing McCurry Islands places here. But let's go ahead And I think we do have an update here at this point. I'm just going to give a reload and just make sure everything is completely up to snuff, everybody, before we make any kind of announcements, as we want to make sure that we get it completely right for you.
This would be a bad one to get wrong, wouldn't it? The national championship.
There you go, Dave. You're right. Take it away.
Kristen Kolchinski, congratulations. You are U.S. national champion at the very highest level. When you look at the quality of competition, the caliber of racing out here, that was well earned, so authentic. Liz Van Houweling, the fight is real in Liz Van Houweling, and there's going to be many, many big victories in Liz's future. A silver medal in our national championship for Liz Van Houweling. Jen Reel, how about this? Tied on points. We've got a tie for the bronze medal here with Jen Reel and Sarah Roach. Fascinating. I think that what we're looking at is the reason Jen is third is that time trial that you mentioned, Nathan. Her result was 1 place better than Sarah Roach in that TT. So congratulations, Jen. Bronze medal. Sarah Roach in fourth. Stephanie Sidlick ending up in fifth place. It's going to be Melissa Aiken in third. Elise Gallegos in... Let me work back on... These are on the Omnium points that I'm talking about. So 5:10 for Stephanie Sidlick has her in fifth. Aiken in sixth with 5:05. Seventh for Gallegos, 5:01. 495 is the points for Emily Nyquist in eighth. Ninth place on the Omnium going to Christy Tracy and Jackie Godby, rounding out our top 10 after 3 Omnium events.
What an amazing event out here today. I'm seeing if I can get Kristen's attention. We'll see if their Discord lets them know. There we go. She is coming on. I think she's coming over. We'll see if she can hear it. She's on her way. Poor Kristen. I think I've heard a little bit of coughing from her, I think, so far.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's been, we'll see if make sure everybody has muted themselves across the entirety of the...
there it is.
There it is. Well, Kristen Kolchinski, great to see you. What a race out there today. First and foremost, how does it feel? I mean, I know you've been really, really pushing for this one. It's been a big week and you worked really hard for it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels really good to have won. All week I was kind of just battling COVID. I still am, I think. So I just wanted to be good enough to race today. And, I rested most of the week and just kind of got up to spin the legs, but I'm really happy that I was able to compete today. Give it my all, whether to see what happens. So I'm really thrilled with the win, and everyone was so strong today. And it was just the level of competition was amazing. So fun times.
Dave, you want to go ahead, Dave?
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. When the 3 went away late in the race, did you realize tactically that was good for you? Were you talking with Josh about that?
Yeah, I was, every race I'm just always listening to Josh, and he said, whatever he tells me to do, I just trust and listen. And so when he said they were going to go up the road, he said, let it go, and it works out better for us. And that last race was a little struggle because my chest started to bother me a little bit, but so I was pretty happy with and just knowing to just trust and listen to Josh. So it worked out really great. So I'm really thrilled with the win.
Congratulations, Kristen. Absolutely awesome. I mean, that was
Thank
quite
you.
the effort. We really, really, really must be a huge relief at this point to get that W. I know you've been searching for it. So thanks so much for your time. It sounds like I hope you can get some rest and some good recovery. Have you, the last question I'll have is, have you ordered the pizza during the race yet?
I was funny enough, usually the whole week I'd be fueling on pizza, but I can't taste, actually. I lost my taste. What the heck is that about? I can't even taste it, but I know how it tastes. So I probably will order the pizza just knowing how it tastes, but I can't taste anything.
Right on, right on. Thanks so much, Kristen. Congratulations. You're
Thank you
U.S.
so much.
national
Thank you.
champion
Congrats to everyone
2024
again.
for the women. Thanks, Kristen. Well, that's awesome. And wow, you can hear it in the voice, can't you, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really noteworthy too how much Kristen has put into this. You know, the national championship is something that's significant in so many riders' lives, and I don't know of anyone who it means more to than the woman that you just witnessed winning it. So it's nice when you see people have a dream come true. And I realized that the dream would be better if she could taste the pizza, but she sure earned it. That's for sure. And there's many
100%.
I mean, there's a world championship to look forward to.
Yeah, Zwift Games, World
Zwift Games,
Championship.
right.
We've got, there's plenty still to come. When it
she's
comes
not
to
done.
not even close to done. So, well, I think we do have our men's winner here waiting for us. I don't want to keep him waiting too much longer. He's been hanging out, probably soaking. Has he gotten a shower? That'll be the big question, actually, whether or not he's gotten a shower. Our man, Brian Duffy Jr. is here with us, Dave.
Brian, did you manifest this victory? Is that fair to say?
Well, first, I just want to say I stood on the shoulders of the best team in the world for this race. Phenomenal teamwork all day. Michael Painter, Stefan, Sean Barry, Scott Cannizzaro, Zach Nair. It was a team effort. It made my job a lot easier to follow the other guys' attacks and to put myself in a really good position. So I was really thankful to be a part of such a great team.
Wow, Brian, I mean, leading into this, it seemed like you really had put a lot of focus. The ERL, you won almost every one of those races. It's interesting, actually, because Freyette, was he the danger man for you in the back of your head in some ways? Because, I mean, on the final course, you won outright, but it's kind of similar in the way that it played out to ERL a little bit, too. I mean, he was right there over and over again.
Yeah, well, the Echelon Series has been a great tune-up for this race, and certainly Freyette has done phenomenal over the last few weeks. So we knew he would be a top contender in this race, as would some of the Cyrus guys and many others. So there are a lot of threats out there. Everyone did really well, made it really, really hard. Every race was incredibly challenging. So yeah, it was a great set of events.
Brian, as the victor of the event, obviously the format works out for you, but tell me your thoughts and your team's thoughts on this format of racing. It seems like the Project Echelon crew has really cracked the code on what's going to make exciting racing to lead into a worthy national champion. That is you, so obviously your perspective a little different, but talk to me about the format.
Yeah, the format for today's race was great. I mean, 3 different races. There hasn't been something quite like this. Worlds was somewhat comparable, although it was a knockout round, so it wasn't necessarily an omnium. But I really liked it. The individual time trial was certainly something new. There's not many of those, so it was really nice to have a mix of scratch races with the individual time trial. I had never done that course on the time trial, so I was terrified going into it, and had one of the best races of my life. So I'm super pumped about it. But yeah, it was a great series. Really thankful for all the race organizers for what they put on.
Well, Brian, national championship done now. Absolutely amazing job. Just to everybody out there, anything final words you want to say about this and the whole Zwift Racing crew and your team?
Yeah, just another shout out to the team, Next Esports, presented by Onshore. Thank you so much to our sponsors, to the teammates. We challenge each other each day, encourage each other. It was great to see so many riders out there today. And also for USA Cycling coming in and sanctioning this event today on Zwift. It was just great. And I'm looking forward to seeing how e-cycling evolves in the future.
Well, congratulations to your U.S. national champion, Brian Duffy Jr. Nicely done into next and the whole team. They really put on a good show out there today, didn't they, Dave?
We found 2 worthy winners, Nathan. I think that's the most important thing. If we're going to call someone a national championship, it's sure great to see them win it with class and panache and courage. So great day of racing. A huge thank you to USA Cycling for trusting us with this broadcast. And again, to Eric Hill and Frank Cundiff and the team at Project Echelon, tremendous job. You're changing the sport for the better.
Well, let's just take us through. This is the standings. Then at the end of the day, the silver does go to Neil Freyette. That will be David Talbot. Hey, the jump up there, Dave, at the end. Talbot, after all that work by Saris, it does pay off to get them into a podium position for the bronze. Matt Zimmer, Hayden Pucker in fifth there. It's going to be Jay Brune there in sixth. Seventh goes to Eric Levinson. Scott Nazaro in eighth. It's going to be Spencer Segelbrook in ninth. And Cameron Cogburn rounds out your top 10 in the Omnium for your U.S. National Championships. Well, Dave, that's going to be it for us and the U.S. Nationals. We've crowned our champions for the Masters and the Elites. We'll look for an update on the Collegiate. We don't have that. I apologize, everybody, on that, but you can head to Echelon Racing League for that information. I would be surprised if it's changed up too much at this point. But for the collegiates, make sure to head on over to Echelon Racing League. And Dave, we're not done with Echelon Racing League either, are we? We've got 3 more weeks of racing to go.
Yeah, all the way through January. And as Brian Duffy Jr. was saying, it's been a tremendous success. So please come and join us. The partnership with USA Cycling and Project Echelon has been tremendous. We've had a great time covering the races, that's for sure. My last note, Nathan, is I remember when we first started with this, the joke was this is not an exercise contest. Well, how much more sophisticated has the racing become over the course of the last 4 or 5 years? And it's gotten to the point, just like Brian was saying, without a strong team around you and without a good plan, I don't think you're going to be a national champion. You really, really have to have all of those puzzle pieces put in the right place.
And one thing I want to mention too is community, right? Like without a team, you're not going to make that, especially on the men's side of things, man. That those teams, they sacrifice so much for each other out there. And also, I would say on the women's side of things, overall, when it comes to having a team, the support crews that were there for those ladies as well were so obvious. So congratulations, to everybody for the way that they've shown up to make all of this happen, for the results as well as everybody being able to strive together as competitors in this space. That's the real gift, I think, too, Dave.
Well, Nathan, I mean, perfectly said, right? What Sarah Roach did today with her teammate, Melissa Aitken, that's incredible. They worked so hard. They had a plan, and they ended up, they didn't win the Omnium, but they won a very, very challenging criterium. And I think that's what it's all about. Never give up, believe in yourself, and align yourself with like-minded folks that have a dream like yours.
Well, if you're looking for some of that striving together in competition, you can still get involved in the Echelon Racing League. We've got 3 more races to go on Saturdays. It's going to be great here all the way through February. We've got other national championships coming up. We've got plenty of broadcasts on Zwift Community Live almost every day of the week. So make sure to check us out over at ZwiftCommunityLive.com, Echelon Racing League. And of course, you got to get out on Zwift if you want to join us. So I hope to see everybody out on Zwift. From Dave and I, you know how it goes. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. And as always, ride on.
Zach Nair is this man is focused. He is locked and loaded. This is not a drill. Big time bike racing is back. A lot of communication going on with that next insured team, but again, this is the man on the front. So Brian Duffy Jr. driving the scoop. Wisconsin's Hayden Pucker restart. Nathan is really standing up to that next team here.